Welcome to Chinese Novel Audiobook. Chapter 41 The Demon King Takes Shape. After the name him was decided, many players found it easy to pronounce. So they all followed suit and shouted, "The devil him just came into the world like this." If Xu Yuan knew what the players called him, he would probably be surprised. Maybe some things are destined. HIM was originally an abbreviation for Herobrine in Minecraft in the original game. Here, the way players call Xu Yuan has a different meaning from him in the original game. But the result is the same. In this game world, Xu Yuan is not as mysterious as him. But in the hearts of players, he is also a Demon King level existence. Over the grassland, the sky gradually brightened. Xu Yuan also brought the monsters into the dense forest. Xu Yuan gained a lot from this battle. While the monsters were fighting, Xu Yuan kept receiving system notifications that they had been successfully tamed. After this battle, Xu Yuan should have tamed quite a few monsters. After opening the taming system, Xu Yuan took a look at the current status of taming monsters. Although Zombie 007 and Little Zombie 520 have not yet broken through to the advanced level of consciousness. But their progress is only about 1-2000 players away. You know, in order to break through the advanced consciousness, you need to kill 10,000 players, which means that in this battle they killed thousands of players. This progress is already very good. With their strength, it will not take long before they can advance to a higher level of consciousness. Spider 101, Little Black 88, 233 Little White and some summoned disaster villagers have all upgraded to intermediate consciousness after this battle. Xu Yuan could also clearly feel that their expressions were very different from before. After all, they were the first batch of monsters that Xu Yuan had personally taught, so their own strength must be strong. The players can also handle it with ease. Next, there are about 2,000 new monsters with primary consciousness. This was also what Xu Yuan intended. When Xu Yuan had the monsters fight, it was also designed. Let powerful monsters like Zombie 007 face the players first. This way, the players will not resist, and the monsters will be able to kill 10 players faster and advance to primary consciousness. The more monsters advance to primary consciousness, the greater the base of kill points Xu Yuan can obtain from them in the future. Xu Yuan now has more than 20 monsters with awakened intermediate consciousness and more than 2,000 monsters with awakened primary consciousness. As for what they will become by then, Xu Yuan has no idea. Xu Yuan naturally hopes that some monsters can grow and awaken their own consciousness. But it is certainly difficult to achieve at the moment. To reach such a height, both strength and luck are indispensable. Xu Yuan did not expect these monsters to awaken their own consciousness. By then, if Xu Yuan can detect the players' positions, things will be easier. Xu Yuan can also lead these monsters. After shutting down the taming system, Xu Yuan opened the information panel again. After seeing the kill value of more than 3 million, a satisfied smile finally appeared on his face. It's worth it. Although the previous layout was indeed a bit troublesome, after seeing the kill values gained, Xu Yuan instantly felt it was worth it. With more than 3 million kill points, Xu Yuan's strength can be greatly improved. I'll upgrade all my skills first. Although there is still a shortfall of 2 million kill points to unlock the Dusk Forest mod. But 2 million is not too much, but not too little either. Now Xu Yuan has lost the player's clues, so it is still a bit difficult to quickly get 2 million kill points. Xu Yuan didn't want to save it anymore, so he just used it to improve his strength. After spending the 2 million kill points, Xu Yuan's skills also made a qualitative leap. Explosion LV5, consumes 5% of own HP, causes 100x100 area damage, cooling time 5s. Closing square bracket. Consume 1 million kill points to upgrade. Teleport LV5, can teleport to a coordinate location. The coordinate location cannot exceed 1000 range of itself, and can carry items or organisms within a 5x5 range, cooling time 5s. Closing square bracket. Consume 1 million kill points to upgrade. Clone LV5, consume 10% of HP, summon a clone. The clone inherits 50% of the original body's abilities. Example, if the main body's explosion skill level is LV5, the clone's explosion skill level will be reduced to LV3. Consume 1 million kill points to upgrade. Strong Spider Silk LV5, launches a ball of spider silk with a hardness of 50 to trap creatures, slowing down their movement speed by 150%. Consume 1 million kill points to upgrade. Hide level 5, can hide in any block and can drive stones to move. Question mark. Consume 1 million kill points to upgrade. Fatal Axe LV5, pull out an iron axe from thin air and deal a fatal blow to the enemy, causing 100% damage to the enemy's upper limit of health. Bad Omen LV5, after the Bad Omen is triggered, a disaster patrol will automatically spawn around you. The patrol includes looters, guardians, looters, summoners, etc. with a cooldown of 1 minute. Question mark. Consume 1 million kill points to upgrade. Summon Vex Ghost LV5, summon 5 to 6 Vex Ghosts to help fight the enemy, cooldown time 1 minute. Closing square bracket. Question mark. Consume 1 million kill points to upgrade. Xu Yuan basically upgraded all the skills he thought he would be useful to level 5. When upgrading skills before, Xu Yuan discovered that after the skill was upgraded to level 4, the required kill value no longer increased proportionally. Basically, all skills require 100,000 kill points to upgrade after reaching level 4. It wasn't until Xu Yuan upgraded these skills to level 5 that he finally understood. Basically, the hurdle for these skills is from level 4 to level 5. When the skill is upgraded to level 5, there will be a qualitative change. This is why after upgrading to level 5, you need 1 million kill points to continue upgrading. Take the skill of teleportation for example, the teleportation distance is directly changed to the teleportation coordinates. Although it is limited to 1000, this improvement is a qualitative leap. It is estimated that if the upgrade continues, the scope will be even larger. Perhaps after reaching a certain level, there will be no range restrictions, and Xu Yuan can teleport to wherever he wants to go. It can be said that Xu Yuan now truly looks like a demon king. After upgrading these skills, Xu Yuan also tried all of them. What surprised Xu Yuan the most was the skill of stealth. Xu Yuan thought that stealth level 5 was the highest level, just like the deadly axe. But I didn't expect that the concealment could continue to upgrade. Moreover, after reaching level 5, the stealth skill has one more function. Able to manipulate stone. It is estimated that if the upgrade continues, the upgrade direction will be to operate blocks with higher hardness. This instantly reminded Xu Yuan of HIM's ability to manipulate obsidian. Who knows, maybe one day I'll be able to control obsidian like him in the fan work. It looks like he's getting closer and closer to the Great Devil Him. I wonder if the undead army will appear. Chapter 42. Remember your mission and be careful. Speaking of the Great Devil Him, there is no need to say much about his own strength. Furthermore, the undead army he leads is also a horrifying existence. Entity 303, who is as powerful as him, the Dark Lord Null, the Dreadlord who once severely injured him, and the Death Knight holding the lava sword. These are all powerful demon kings. Just one of them has the power to destroy the world. But they all belong to him. Formed the strongest demon group, the Undead Legion. Among the undead army, him, the leader, is naturally the most popular. Under the influence of him, the popularity of other members of the Undead Legion is also quite high. If Xu Yuan could really gather an undead army in this game world, his journey to become the Demon King can be considered complete. But Xu Yuan just thought about it. After all, with his current strength, he would not be a match for any of them. Xu Yuan didn't think any more about it, but turned his gaze to the monsters in front of him. Although I only spent a few days with them, but Xu Yuan still developed some feelings for them. After they awaken their consciousness, they are no longer products of code. They also have thoughts and perform many autonomous actions. These monsters also have their own personalities. Zombie 007 is sophisticated and steady, while Little Zombie 520 is playful and lively. Xiaohei 88 is very smart, but he always likes to show a lewd smile. Spider 101 Xu Yuan thinks it should be a female, very careful, and a social person, getting along well with monsters. Xiaobai 233 is like a fool, stupid and silly. These monsters are living beings. Xu Yuan traveled to this world alone, and they were his only companions for such a long time. But now, it's time to say goodbye. Xu Yuan couldn't always lead them, as this would limit his own development. Next, the monsters also need to gain experience on their own. It's impossible for Xu Yuan to protect them all the time. After thinking about this, Xu Yuan looked at the monsters with some reluctance in his eyes. But Xu Yuan is not a hesitant person. Now that I have made the decision, I will not hesitate any longer. From now on you will fight separately. Remember your mission and be careful. After hearing Xu Yuan's words, the monsters that had awakened their intermediate consciousness seemed to realize that they had to leave Xu Yuan. His face drooped instantly, and there was visible reluctance and sadness in his eyes. But they did not dare to go against Xu Yuan's wishes. Roar, roar, hiss, quote. Monsters that have awakened intermediate consciousness, such as Zombie 007, Little Zombie 520, and Spider 101, all squeeze out various sounds from their throats. It seemed like he was saying goodbye to Xu Yuan. Seeing this, Xu Yuan also stepped forward, touched their heads, and gave instructions again. Be smart and come to see me alive. After saying goodbye to the monsters, Xu Yuan distributed the more than 1,000 wolf cubs he had recruited during the previous battle to the various monsters. Wolves are originally neutral monsters, and Xu Yuan can control them. Before, we directly unlocked the control over the wolves, making them obedient. These wolves would be a nuisance to Xu Yuan, so he might as well let them go and train with these monsters. It can also be considered as a companionship. After distributing the wolf cubs, Xu Yuan also waved at the monsters. Let's go. After Xu Yuan gave the order, the monsters led their wolf cubs away in different directions. In less than 10 minutes, all the monsters were gone. Only Zombie 007 was left standing there. After seeing all the monsters leave, Zombie 007 took a few steps forward and came to Xu Yuan. He looked Xu Yuan up and down, observing her carefully. It seemed that he was afraid that he would forget what Xu Yuan looked like and wanted to observe him more carefully. Seeing this, Xu Yuan did not stop Zombie 07's behavior. Zombie 007 has always been special, and his thinking patterns have always been different from those of other monsters. If I were to make a metaphor, these monsters are currently like some pets that Xu Yuan keeps. Zombie 007 is a pet that is more humane. So Xu Yuan usually spends more time with Zombie 007. He is not as naughty as the little Zombie 520. He is very calm and quiet. Every time Xu Yuan does something, he will come over and keep a certain distance from Xu Yuan. Then he just watched over Xu Yuan silently. Zombie 007 observed Xu Yuan for about 2 to 3 minutes before finally stopping. Then he growled twice at Xu Yuan. Roar. Xu Yuan could clearly sense its reluctance from its eyes. Seeing this, Xu Yuan pointed at the wolf cub beside him. Take good care of it, and return it to me when the time comes. Xu Yuan deliberately told Zombie 007 in an ordering manner, asking him to return the wolf cub later. In fact, it is just a hint to Zombie 007 that every time he sees the wolf cub, it reminds him of himself. This way, he wouldn't have to worry about forgetting Xu Yuan. After hearing Xu Yuan's words, Zombie 007 glanced at the wolf cub, then nodded as if he had some kind of belief. After saying goodbye to Xu Yuan again, he turned and left. Looking at the backs of Zombie 007 and the wolf cub leaving, Xu Yuan inexplicably felt a sense of familiarity. But I can't tell where it is familiar. Forget it. I don't want to think about it anymore. Xu Yuan has a strong feeling that he will meet Zombie 007 again in the near future. It is estimated that by that time he should have grown into a very powerful being. Xu Yuan is also looking forward to that day. After sending the monsters away, Xu Yuan sighed as he looked at the empty grassland. I'm alone again. After traveling into the game for so long, Xu Yuan has gradually gotten used to being alone. But the sudden joining of the monsters broke the silence. Now peace has returned again and Xu Yuan is somewhat uncomfortable with it. However, loneliness is a normal part of life, and Xu Yuan was able to adapt quickly. After calming down, Xu Yuan also prepared to plan the next step of development. Now that all the monsters have been sent out, we probably won't see any results in the short term. After all, the entire game world is too big. Although there are a lot of players, they are all in a scattered state. It will take some time for the monsters to find the players. But Xu Yuan's development must not stagnate. During this time, Xu Yuan is doing some backup work. The first kills of monsters in the main world have basically been achieved. Now all that's left is the first kill of the monsters in the Nether and the end. Xu Yuan plans to go to the Netherworld first to get the first kill of the monsters. Then build some monster spawning towers in the Netherworld. As my skills improved, the simple monster killing tower I used to use was no longer able to supply enough monsters. In the future, Xu Yuan's demand for deterrence and kill value will only increase. We definitely need to build a few more monster killing towers. It is definitely better to build a monster tower in the Nether than in the main world. After all, players have not yet set foot in the Netherworld. Xu Yuan doesn't have to hide it. After thinking about this, Xu Yuan immediately took action. After teleporting for more than half an hour, I found a ruined portal to the netherworld. There was a magma pool exposed on the ground not far away. After making an iron barrel, Xu Yuan also skillfully used the casting method to make a portal to the nether. After lighting the portal, I felt a darkness before my eyes. After a period of dizziness passed, I opened my eyes and found myself in the underworld. After arriving in the netherworld, Xu Yuan carefully destroyed the portal and then began to look for traces of monsters. Xu Yuan shortly after entering the nether portal. Many players gathered in front of the portal to the netherworld in the main world. If I remember correctly, this place didn't look like this before, right? There were just a few pieces of obsidian before. How did it suddenly become the shape of a door? Could it be someone in our guild who released it? How is that possible? To put it there, at least there must be obsidian. Who can dig that thing? How strange. Let's go inform the president. Chapter 43 Strange Obsidian Door Frame. The group of players gathered around the frame of the nether portal are members of the Yuntang Guild. The Yuntang Guild is considered to be a relatively famous guild in the game. Yuntang is a large game studio established in the early years. Since its establishment, they have appeared in all major games. Yuntang can be considered one of the top 10 large guilds in China. He still has some reputation in the industry. Although the Yuntang Guild is currently only a level 1 guild, it is not far from becoming a level 2 guild. After Steve releases the guide for the pedicure shed, it will probably be upgraded to a level 2 guild soon. The strength of the players in the Yuntang Guild is definitely much higher than that of the Triumph Guild. After all, most of the people in the guild are old members of the studio and are professional players. Coincidentally, the place where the nether portal opened by Xu Yuan was located was exactly where the players of the Yuntang Guild were clearing the land. Players from the Yuntang Guild also arrived here yesterday and discovered the remains of this netherworld portal. Originally, this group of players didn't care about the wreckage. After all, players don't know about such things as portals to the nether yet. But the changes in the wreckage attracted the attention of the players of the Yuntang Guild. The guild members immediately told Yunfeng, the president of Yuntang Guild, the news. About an hour after the message was sent. Then he saw Yunfeng riding a black horse hurriedly coming over. What's going on? As soon as Yunfeng came over, the players immediately reported the situation. President, this is what happened. We just explored this place yesterday and found these obsidian stones stacked together, and there is a treasure chest next to them. I have reported this to you before. After hearing this, Yunfeng nodded. The saddle on the black horse was the one that the players found in the treasure chest yesterday. The player then continued to report. There were only 5 pieces of obsidian here yesterday, but when we came here today, we found that it had turned into the shape of a door frame. The player said as he pointed to the obsidian door frame behind him. Seeing this, Yunfeng thought for a moment and then asked, "Are there other players around here?" After hearing this, the guild members shrugged uncertainly. Logically speaking, there shouldn't be any. But yesterday was the first time we explored the land here, so we can't be sure. After all, it takes an hour to get from here to the guild headquarters, and players don't usually hang out here. So there is no way to determine whether there are other players here. After hearing what the guild members said, Yunfeng opened the message list and sent a message to Vice President Yunli. How long will it take? About half an hour. Wait for you. After closing the message list, Yunfeng started to study the obsidian door frame with the other players. About half an hour later, Yunli finally arrived. Yunfeng conveyed the players' descriptions to Yunli. What do you think? After Yunli came over, he carefully observed the obsidian door frame and thought for a moment. Then analyzed. This obsidian cannot have grown on its own. It must have been man-made. That means this person already has a diamond pickaxe, otherwise he would not be able to obtain obsidian. He took great pains to dig up so much obsidian and build this thing. It must be useful. I see this shape, it feels like a door. Yunli is Yunfeng's younger brother and the vice president of the Yuntang Guild. Yunli is a talented player with a deep understanding of the game. He is like the brain of the Yuntang Guild. The growth and development of Yuntang Guild is inseparable from his contribution. Naturally, no one would object to his analysis. Yunfeng nodded upon seeing this and then asked. If it is a door, where does it lead to? We just tried it and walked through it, but nothing happened. Hearing this, Yunli smiled. It's probably some kind of space portal or something. It should need to be activated. As for the conditions for starting it, we'll have to try it slowly. After hearing this, Yunfeng nodded and patted Yunli on the shoulder. Then I'll leave it to you. Yunli raised his chin, which was considered as agreement. Just as the players of the Yuntang Guild were studying the obsidian door frame, Xu Yuan also successfully got the first kill of many monsters. Magma immunity, immune to damage from fire, magma, and magma blocks. Closing square bracket. Question mark. Throw. The attack can throw the target into the air. Withering LV1. Attacks produce a withering effect. Health value turns black. Blood loss is not noticeable. Blood loss per second 5%. Consume 20,000 kill points to upgrade. Explosive fireball LV1. Fires an explosive fireball that explodes after touching the target. The explosion power is 1. Blocks with a hardness less than 1 will be blown up. After the explosion, the surrounding 3x3 blocks will catch fire. Consume 20,000 kill points to upgrade. Fireball launch level 1. Launches 3 fireballs, with a fireball accuracy of 50% and a fireball attack range of 30. Closing square bracket. Consume 20,000 kill points to upgrade. Group attack level 1. When a target is designated for attack, piglins and piglin barbarians within a 15x15 range will become hostile to the target. Closing square bracket. Consume 20,000 kill points to upgrade. The skills of these monsters in the Nether are also pretty good. The 2 fireball type skills are naturally provided by the evil spirit and the blaze. I have to say, these 2 skills are quite useful. This is equivalent to Xu Yuan having 2 more long-range attack skills. The exploding fireball provided by the evil spirit is equivalent to a long-range area damage skill, and should still be very powerful after upgrading. It is directly equivalent to a long-range artillery shell. The skills provided by the Blaze Man are more like long-range machine guns. After upgrading, the number, accuracy and distance of fireballs fired should be significantly improved. With these 2 skills, Xu Yuan no longer has to rely solely on explosions for close combat. Next, the withering effect provided by Wither is also a pretty good skill. It is equivalent to a black screen in blood deduction. After upgrading, the blood deduction rate should increase a lot. Needless to say, attacking in groups is a skill naturally provided by the piglins. This skill is useless to Xu Yuan. After all, Xu Yuan can control monsters. Other monsters like zombie piglins and lava slimes did not provide any skills to Xu Yuan. The zombie hoglin itself doesn't have many skills, and the lava slime is not much different from the slime. It was probably a skill that provided clones, which Xu Yuan had already acquired before, so it was directly offset. Although this trip was fruitful, Xu Yuan still felt a little disappointed. What he wanted most when he came to the underworld this time was the skill of flying. I thought I would gain the ability to fly by killing evil spirits, but things did not go as I wished. The evil spirit did not provide Xu Yuan with the flying skill. It seems that the evil spirit is also a monster that can fly autonomously. Xu Yuan can only place his hopes on the Wither and the Ender Dragon. After all, both of them are boss-type monsters, so it shouldn't be too much to give them a flying skill, right? After thinking about this, Xu Yuan also had a plan for his next step. Let's talk about the first kill of Withering first. Chapter 44. It seems someone has been here. To kill the Wither, you must collect the heads of 3 Wither skeletons. Then place it on soul sand to summon the Wither. The drop rate of Wither Skull is only 2.5%, which is quite touching. Anyway, the official rate is 2.5%. Xu Yuan has been playing the game for so long, and without using the monster spawner, he has killed tens of thousands of Wither skeletons. The drop rate at Xu Yuan can basically be moved 1 decimal place back. Anyway, when it comes to collecting Wither skulls, Xu Yuan can be considered a complete loser. Before, Xu Yuan usually made a Wither skeleton spawning tower to spawn Wither skeletons. But now Xu Yuan only needs to gather 3 Wither skeletons to get the first kill, so there is no need to go to the trouble of building a monster tower. Just brush it honestly. Anyway, if you encounter a Wither skeleton now, you can kill it instantly. Coupled with the teleport skill, the monster spawning rate is still very high. Even if your luck is bad, you can probably collect them all in an hour or 2. After thinking about this, Xu Yuan immediately started collecting Wither skeleton skulls. Yunfei spent most of the day studying and finally figured out how to open the obsidian door frame. It turns out that all it needs to be activated is fire. The moment the flame ignited the obsidian door frame suddenly seemed to be activated. The space in the middle of the door frame immediately began to distort and emitted a strange purple light. Yunli was excited when he saw this. It's done. After seeing the obsidian door frame being set on fire, Yunli was not in a hurry to go in. Instead, he suddenly turned around and glanced at the players present. Yunli felt a little relieved after seeing that all the players present were familiar faces. You are all members of the elite group and veterans of the guild. I believe you all understand the rules of the guild, right? Yunli has always been cautious, and the discovery of this obsidian portal is a major discovery for the guild. If you want to develop rapidly ahead of other guilds, the people around you must keep their mouths shut. Yunli has also set rules, and everyone in the elite group knows what to do. Don't worry, boss. We understand. We, the elite group, all have the same tongue and will not tell anyone. We are all old people, so we naturally know the rules. The reason why this group of players can enter the elite group is naturally because they are people whom Yunli and others can trust. They are all veterans of the guild, so Yunli still trusts them, but he just gives them a reminder in advance. Well, let's go in and take a look. After hearing this, the players immediately followed Yunli and stepped into the door frame. The players of the Yuntang Guild immediately disappeared into the door frame. Everyone in Yunli felt the world spinning around them, and then a wave of heat hit them in the face. When everyone opened their eyes, they were stunned by the scene before them. What the hell? Where is this? Why is it so red and eerie? It's so hot and stuffy. What a lousy place. Quote. Yunli and his group took a look at the map and finally knew where they were. The Netherworld. Is this another world in the game? What the hell? There's something like this in this game. The monsters here must be very powerful, right? If we come in like this, we might not be able to return alive. Quote. It was the first time for Yunli and his group to come to the underworld, so they were naturally nervous. They were not familiar with the terrain and monsters here. After Yunli took a look around, he gave an order to everyone. Everyone, be prepared to explore the new land. There are probably a lot of good things in this underworld. After all, it is a new map, and it is a place that requires opening a portal to enter. The supplies here are definitely better than those in the main world. Now that he's here, Yunli is ready to start new development. After everyone was fully armed, they began to slowly explore the lower world. Although Yunli and his people are not familiar with the lower realm. But fortunately, the players in the elite group are still quite strong. During the exploration along the way, I encountered many monsters that I had never seen before. But once I got familiar with their skills, I was able to get the hang of it right away. Everyone moved forward steadily step by step. After walking for about an hour, I saw a magnificent building in front of me. As we approached the building, the name of the building finally appeared on the screen. Hell Fortress. Wow, this building looks amazing. Could this be some kind of boss's lair? Look, is there a treasure chest over there in that corridor? Indeed, but the dark skeleton next to it looks a bit difficult to deal with. Boss, shall we go? Quote. When the elite group members saw such a magnificent building standing in the lava pool, they could feel the danger inside even without going in. But when everyone saw the treasure chest appear in the corridor outside the building, they couldn't move their feet. After they entered the game, they currently only had access to one treasure chest. It is the treasure chest next to the door frame of the Netherworld. There are a lot of good things in that treasure chest. Now that they have finally seen another one, they naturally don't want to give up. Seeing this, Yunli thought for a moment and made a decision. Let's go check it out. Although Yunli didn't have much confidence, fortunately he was leading an elite group of people, and their operations were still okay. At that time, even if you encounter danger, even if you can't win, you can still run away. After Yunli gave the order, everyone immediately entered the Hell Fortress. After arriving at the outer corridor, everyone worked together to kill the withered skeleton guarding the box. As soon as the withered skeleton fell to the ground, the sharp-eyed Yunli discovered that it seemed to have dropped a strange thing. Yunli immediately stepped forward and picked up the fallen items. Wither skeleton's head. What is this? Yunli couldn't help but be surprised when he saw the items dropped by the wither skeleton. Although he didn't know what it was, Yunli could tell that it should be a good thing. Because the color of the introduction font of this wither skeleton's head is different from that of other dropped items. It looks like a good thing. Xu Yuan spent more than an hour killing wither skeletons, but ended up with a head explosion. If he knew that Yunli and the others had killed one and only one head appeared, he would probably be so angry that he would die. Fortunately, Xu Yuan was lucky enough. When he was visiting the Nether Fortress, he casually touched a box and took out an enchantment book of looting too. Xu Yuan decided to possess a demon and fight again. However, there are still a few iron ingots needed to make an anvil, so Xu Yuan decided to go to the main world. Dig some iron ingots, enchant them and then continue to fight. After thinking about this, Xu Yuan teleported to the Netherworld portal, only to find that it had been activated. Xu Yuan immediately realized that something was wrong. He remembered clearly that he destroyed the teleportation space after entering the Netherworld. Now that the Nether portal is lit, there is only one possibility. Someone lit it up from the overworld. It looks like someone has been here. Chapter 45 Him is coming. Xu Yuan himself remembered very clearly that when he came in, he deliberately destroyed the transmission channel. But at this moment, the transmission channel was opened again. That definitely means a player has come in. There are players around here. Xu Yuan was also a little surprised. He didn't expect that there would be players in the place he was looking for. But it's okay, as it saves Xu Yuan the trouble of looking for it. After thinking about this, Xu Yuan also summoned a clone. Then he let his clone hide in the surrounding hell rocks. If a player sets foot here, he will definitely go back along the same route. As long as you monitor the Nether portal, you can find clues about the player. Anyway, these players are like kill points delivered to your door, so why not take them? After placing the clone, Xu Yuan did not delay his own business and went directly to the main world to start collecting iron ingots. Boss, there are a lot of good things in this box. An enchanted book, 2 diamonds, and a few iron ingots. This trip is a big win. The treasure chest outside this porch is so good, the things inside this fortress. I can't even imagine it. Quote. The players of the Yuntang Guild were excitedly discussing the various supplies that had been opened from the boxes. Yunli was holding the head of the withered skeleton that had just fallen and was studying it. Although the supplies in the treasure chest were indeed very good, Yunli felt that the withered skull in his hand was the biggest gain of this trip. After all, the color of its item name is different from the others. Yunli was just thinking about it when he saw another withered skeleton appear in front of him. Upon seeing this, the players from the Yuntang Guild immediately surrounded them. The withered skeleton was killed in no time. After the wither skeleton dies, only a piece of coal is dropped, and no wither skeleton head is dropped. Seeing this, Yunli immediately became excited. It seems I guessed right. This wither skeleton's head should be considered a rare item. It doesn't seem like it's something that will necessarily fall. After thinking about this, Yunli immediately gave orders to everyone. Leave 4 of you here to kill wither skeletons, and the rest of you to explore the fortress. Yunli and the others had only been standing here for a while when the wither skeletons refreshed. From this, we can judge that this should be the refresh point of the wither skeleton. Although Yunli didn't know what the use of this withered skeleton's head was. But now at least he can be sure that this must be a good thing. It never hurts to brush more. After Yunli gave the order, the players immediately got busy. Yunli placed the withered skeleton's head on the ground and took a screenshot. Then he sent a message to Yunfeng. We have researched the obsidian door frame and it is a portal to the Netherworld. We are in the Netherworld now, and we got this thing. In my opinion, it should be a good thing, but I don't know what it is used for. You ask the higher-ups to research this. I won't go back for the time being. There are too many people and too many gossips. After Yunli sent the message, he sent the screenshot to you, Yunfeng. Yunli was also quite cautious. After all, this is a major discovery of the guild, so Yunli must keep it secret and seize the opportunity to develop it quickly. At this moment, inside the Yuntang Guild's headquarters, the company's top executives were sitting together. The senior executives looked at the photo of the withered skeleton head sent by Yunfeng thoughtfully. That's all I found during this trip to the Netherworld. This wither skull must be very useful. Its drop rate is very low, and the color of the item is different from the others. Yunfeng told all the guild leaders about what Yunli saw and heard when he went to the lower world. The purpose of gathering everyone for this meeting is to study the use of the wither skeletons exploded by Azuma Li. In general, heads in games seem to be used for sacrifice or summoning. I guess summoning will be more effective. Didn't someone in our guild use that pumpkin head to create a snow golem? Really? This head is probably used to summon monsters. I just don't know what to put under the head. Quote. The top leaders of all guilds are core players, and their understanding of the game and their skills are naturally top-notch. They soon came to a rough conclusion about the uses of the wither skeleton skull. After hearing what everyone said, Yunfeng nodded in agreement. Well, let's study along this line of thought. Anyway, there must be various solid blocks placed underneath. This stuff was obtained from monsters in the Nether. I guess it's more likely that there are solid blocks from the Nether placed underneath. Then bring more elite members over there to collect some blocks from the Netherworld and open up some new land. The top leaders were discussing when to set foot in the underworld again. I saw a player rushing into the meeting room. Yunfeng was dissatisfied when he saw this and was about to lose his temper. The player said breathlessly, "President, oh no, that white eye, him is coming." After hearing what the player said, all the senior executives were shocked. "He's here. Where is he? Has he discovered us? Has he discovered our base? Have they already attacked the base?" Quote. All the senior executives looked at the reporting player with nervous expressions. Seeing this, the player took several deep breaths before finally recovering, then shook his head. "No, we didn't attack the base. It's like this. I'm going to the open-air cliff mine in the north with a few other players to start mining. It turns out him is there too." After hearing the player's words, the senior executives breathed a sigh of relief. However, they did not dare to relax completely. After all, the mining area was only an hour away from the base. Now that him is around, it's only a matter of time to find them. After thinking about this, the senior executives immediately asked the players, "Have you been discovered by him?" After hearing this, the player shook his head. "No, we didn't dare delay after we found him, so we hit immediately. We waited until he left before rushing back." After hearing this, Yunfeng asked again, "Are you sure he's not following you?" The player shook his head affirmatively and then said, "After we dug 3 parts and filled 1 part, we kept digging tunnels underground, and everything we did was underground. I walked around for about half an hour and only came out after I made sure he was not nearby." The players of the Yuntang Guild were also very cautious. Naturally, all the players of the Yuntang Guild had watched Steve's previous live broadcast. Afterwards, Yunfeng and Yunli repeatedly reminded them to be careful if they met him. It doesn't matter even if he commits suicide and explodes his equipment, we must not lure him to the base. The players of the Yuntang Guild also always keep Yunfeng Yunli's words in mind. After meeting him, I hid myself immediately after making sure that he had not discovered me. And they directly dug a tunnel to evacuate, which can be said to be very cautious. Yunfeng finally felt relieved after hearing the player's words. But since HIM was already nearby, they had to be on guard. After Yunfeng told Yunli the news he received, the two discussed it and then made a risky decision. "Let's move the guild headquarters underground first." Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 46. Can't you let me have a chance? Although the safest way at the moment is to evacuate quickly. However, the temptation of the materials in the Netherworld is too great for the Yuntang Guild. Moreover, the Yuntang Guild currently has no knowledge of the Netherworld. They also didn't know that the Hell Gate could be built using the casting method. Even if they knew the casting method, they couldn't be sure whether they could continue to find the Nether fortress after reaching the Nether. They naturally don't know that there are actually many Nether fortresses in the Nether world. Currently, this Nether portal is their only way to reach the Hell fortress. So they can't leave at the moment. They still wanted to stay and explore the fortress first. After all, the supplies in the fortress were really tempting. The gains from just one treasure chest were worth what they gained from playing the game for such a long time. As the saying goes, fortune and honor are achieved through risk. Yunli and Yunfeng will definitely not give up the supplies in this Hell fortress. After Yunfeng and Yunli finished the discussion, Yunfeng organized the players to move their base underground. That way, the target won't be so obvious. Even if him found the area nearby, he probably wouldn't be able to find any flaws. Afterwards, Yunfeng arranged for several high-level players to bring a group of elite players who had signed the agreement to the underworld. As soon as they set foot in the Netherworld, Xu Yuan's clone who stayed beside the portal to the Netherworld noticed them. After everyone left the vicinity of the portal, the clone slowly appeared. Seeing the guild names above the players' heads in the distance, Xu Yuan couldn't help but feel excited. Is there a guild around here? Xu Yuan originally thought that the people who set foot in the Netherworld might just be some individual players, but he didn't expect it to be a guild. It looks like we can get another large wave of kill points. These people definitely cannot be killed now, it is not cost-effective to kill them. They have to help Xu Yuan find the location of the guild headquarters. After thinking about this, Xu Yuan continued to drive his clone to follow the members of the Yuntang Guild. After following for about an hour, the members of the Yuntang Guild finally stopped in front of a hell fortress. The coordinates given by the vice president are here, right? It's here. Damn, this building is pretty awesome. No wonder we can find so many good things in here. After everyone from the Yuntang Guild arrived at the Hell Fortress, the top leaders also sent a message to Yunli. After a while, Yunli walked out of the Hell Fortress. Seeing all the players just coming over, Yunli was a little displeased. What took you so long to get here? This Hell Fortress is much more dangerous than Yunli imagined. Yunli originally thought that the people he brought could at least explore the area a little bit, but he didn't expect that they would be surrounded by monsters as soon as they entered. Fortunately, they ran fast and then found a place to hide in the Hell Fortress and wait for support. There's nothing I can do. This lower world is too difficult to navigate, and there are so many monsters. After all, it was the first time for the senior executives to come to the underworld. They were unfamiliar with the place and were very cautious along the way. Yunli didn't say anything else when he saw this. There are several spots for spawning wither skeletons here. I've marked them with stones. I've also built pedicure sheds around them. I'll assign some people to spawn them. The remaining people will be divided into two groups. One group will go to collect various bricks in the netherworld, and the other group will follow me to open up the Hell Fortress. After the members were divided into groups, the players began to get busy with their own work. After hearing Yunli's words, Xu Yuan also sighed. It seems that I won't be able to get this kill value for a while. It was obvious that Yunli and his group came here to open up the wasteland. It will definitely take a few hours to finish. There was no way Xu Yuan would kill them just for this kill point value. We can only wait until they finish clearing the land and return to the base and then follow them. After controlling the clone to hide, it didn't take long for the original body to finally collect the necessary materials. After making a random iron sword, I enchanted the iron sword with the enchantment book of looting 2 on the anvil. Then Xu Yuan came to the nether again and started to farm wither skeletons. Fortunately, the place where Xu Yuan spawned monsters was in the opposite direction from where Yunli and the others spawned monsters. Xu Yuan doesn't have to worry about being discovered by the people from the Yuntang Guild. I have to say that with the advent of looting 2, the drop rate has indeed increased a lot. Xu Yuan probably spent another hour on it. Finally, I have collected the heads of 3 withered skeletons. Can't you let me do it once? With this much monster spawning time, I can build a wither skeleton spawning tower. Xu Yuan couldn't help but complain. My luck in getting wither skeleton skulls by myself is really terrible. I spent an hour grinding for the sword from looting 2 and only got 2 heads. It took Xu Yuan nearly 3 hours to carve up the 3 heads. This is completely the reverse of being the European emperor. Hey, it's not easy to acquire flying skills. Chapter 47 Obtained Skill, Flying. In MC, placing 3 wither skulls on soul sand in AT shape will summon the wither. As the boss in the game, wither is still very powerful. The main thing is that he can fly, and the withered heads he throws are not only powerful but can also destroy the terrain. And after attacking a player or creature, it will heal itself. This is also where it is more difficult to hit. It is difficult for players to aim at it while it is in the air. Furthermore, when facing it, the terrain will always be bombed into pits. This makes it harder to hit. And its skills also have the effect of restoring blood. Even if players work hard to reduce it to half health, it is still difficult to beat. After reaching half health, Wither becomes immune to range damage. It can only attack at close range, and when it takes damage, it will destroy a 3x3x3 block centered on itself. It is equivalent to a small explosion skill. Therefore, many people think that the Wither is stronger than the Ender Dragon and more difficult to defeat. However, no matter how powerful the monster is, it cannot defeat the wisdom of the players. MC players also figured out a way to kill Wither without taking any damage. The easiest way to survive withering without taking any damage is to simply dig a tunnel that is deep and long enough. And summon the Wither in a very small space. It is best if this space is made up of more explosion-resistant blocks such as obsidian or end stone. This way, the Wither cannot destroy the surrounding rocks, nor can it take off. It is equivalent to completely restricting the Wither's actions. Then prepare a bow and a sword, and it would be best to bring a shield if conditions permit. If the enemy's health is above half, use the bow to shoot at a fixed point. If the enemy's health is below half, switch to the sword, cut once and retreat once to prevent the enemy from exploding. This will kill the Wither without causing any harm. Xu Yuan naturally doesn't need to use such methods. Xu Yuan had previously upgraded the deadly axe to level 5. The level 5 fatal axe can directly cause 100% of the enemy's maximum health damage. Xu Yuan only needs to wait for Wither's invincibility time to pass, and then teleport over to kill Wither instantly before it takes off. Xu Yuan arranged the soul sand into a T shape, and then placed 3 Wither skeleton skulls on top. As soon as the withered skull was placed on the ground, the 3 withered skulls placed in front of it instantly came to life. Then, the soul sand under the 3 heads slowly transformed into withered torsos. After the transformation was completed, the withered body immediately began to swell and grow. Its health also expanded, slowly growing from half health to full health. At this moment, withering is in an invincible state, and even Xu Yuan can't do anything to it. Seeing this, Xu Yuan was not in a hurry and waited quietly by the side. When Wither's health reached full, a familiar sound came from its body. After the sound effect is played, withering officially enters liberation mode. In this mode, the wither will begin to fly and launch wither skulls to attack. A creature killed by it will leave a withered rose at the spot. I killed you but still put a flower on your grave. This is the tenderness of withering. After withering is activated, it will prioritize locking onto players and start attacking. After the surrounding players die, it will indiscriminately attack all non-undead creatures within its field of vision. Xu Yuan was obviously the first target of withering's attack. As Wither was about to take off, Xu Yuan was also quick-witted and came to Wither's side in an instant. He took out an iron axe out of thin air and chopped it towards the withered head. Xu Yuan's axe instantly made the health bar disappear. Wither was killed instantly less than 5 seconds after he was born. Skills acquired: flying. Flying. Gain the ability to fly, and can fly in any space. Closing square bracket. Obtained skill: Withered Head. Withered Head LV1. You can launch the withered head to attack, with a flight speed of 1 meter per second. After attacking the target, a 3x3 explosion range is created, and the explosion can destroy obsidian. Consume 100,000 kill points to upgrade. Life Absorption LV1. Absorb the life of killed creatures to heal yourself, and restore 5% of life for each kill. Closing square bracket. Consume 100,000 kill points to upgrade. Finally got the flying skill. Xu Yuan was so happy to see the flying skill obtained by killing Wither. Although the other skills provided by Wither are also very powerful. But for Xu Yuan, just the flying skill is worth a fortune. With the flying skill, Xu Yuan's work efficiency will be greatly improved. After acquiring the flying skill, Xu Yuan took another look at the clone's perspective. After seeing that the Yuntang Guild had no intention of returning home, Xu Yuan began to busy himself with making various large monster-killing towers. The best choice for a monster spawning tower is naturally the zombie piglin monster spawning tower. The main thing is that the refresh conditions of zombie piglins are very simple. Any 2 high places in the nether can be refreshed, and there is no brightness requirement. Therefore, zombie piglins spawn more frequently than any other monster. Naturally, it becomes the best choice for monster tower. It is also very simple to make a zombie pigman spawning tower. You can attract the zombie pigmen by simply taking advantage of the fact that they are attracted to turtle eggs. Then just mass execute them. This time Xu Yuan was more careful and decided to build the monster spawning tower on the bedrock layer of the upper layer of the nether. After all, there are already players who have set foot in the nether, and it would be easy to be discovered if you do it in the nether. Hey, it's another big project. Thinking of this, Xu Yuan couldn't help but let out a long sigh. Although I already have the skill of flying, it is still very cumbersome to build a monster tower. But there is no other way, no matter how complicated it is, we have to do it. After all, the deterrent provided by the previous small monster killing tower is no longer enough. Since the last upgrade of the monster control range, the deterrent force required for the next upgrade has directly reached a high number of 1 million. The previous monster tower's output of 50,000 per hour was really not enough. For the sake of development, Xu Yuan had to do it even if he didn't want to. After adjusting his mindset, Xu Yuan devoted himself to his work. Chapter 48 Diamond Suit Zombies and Black Collar Wolves. At this moment, somewhere thousands of miles away from the Yuntang Guild's headquarters, a group of players from the Brilliant Guild accidentally broke into a stone chamber while mining. The stone chamber is very large and looks like a military fortress. After walking around the fortress, the players also discovered a very strange stone chamber. There is a row of stone stairs in the center of the stone chamber, leading directly to a strange square pattern surrounded by 12 yellow-green altar-like blocks. Below the square pattern surrounding the altar is a pool of lava. Although these blue-green altars are generally the same, there are 4 that have some subtle differences from the other altars. There is an eyeball placed in the center of each of the 4 altars. Moreover, these eyeballs are not facing the same direction. It looks extremely weird. After the players of the Brilliant Guild discovered this strange altar, they immediately told the news to the President Kanglong. In less than half an hour, Kanglong arrived here with a group of people. After seeing the scene in front of them, although everyone didn't know what was in front of them, they were all very excited. This looks like some kind of sacrificial ceremony. Indeed, do you see those eyeballs up there? I guess if we fill the altar with eyeballs, something will be unlocked. This eyeball looks a bit like something dropped by the Enderman. They are quite similar, but the eyes dropped by the Enderman are round, and this one is a vertical cat's eye. Where can I get this thing? Quote. The guild leaders were discussing the matter when the player who had just discovered the stone chamber stood up. Then he took out 2 eyeballs from his backpack and handed them to Kanglong Dao. This was found in a box inside the stone chamber when we were searching it. Kanglong took the eyeball and observed it carefully. Eye of Ender. The Enderman dropped the Ender Pearl. Could this Eye of Ender be a combination of Ender Pearl and something else? After hearing Kanglong's words, everyone in the guild shook their heads to indicate that they didn't know. This was also the first time they encountered this thing. This is also what makes this game love-hate. The game has no crafting list and no walkthrough. Everything depends on players to experiment slowly. After thinking for a moment, Kanglong came to the altar and reached out to take the Eye of Ender that was already placed on the altar. Kanglong originally wanted to give it a try, but he didn't expect that the Eye of Ender on the altar could actually be picked up. Upon seeing this, Kanglong immediately gave instructions to the senior executives. You guys go study the synthesis method of this Eye of Ender. The rest of you search the stone chamber again, then expand the search range to look for other stone chambers. If this thing is in the stone chamber, it should be available in other places as well. At the same time, in a dense forest in the game world, a zombie covered in diamonds and a wolf wearing a black collar were strolling side by side in the dense forest. I only saw the zombie pulling an eyeball out of its eye socket. Then he threw the eyeball away. Seeing this, the wolf cub on the side flew out in a flash. Before the eyeball hit the ground, it jumped up and held the eyeball in its mouth. After the wolf cub put the eyeball in its mouth, the next second a swallowing movement was seen in its throat. Seeing this, the zombies immediately panicked. Roar. He immediately ran to the wolf cub, grabbed it and shook it. Seeing the zombies panic, the wolf cub's face was full of smugness, and his tail was shaking like a propeller, almost taking off, and his tongue was sticking out with joy. The zombie was trying to pry open the wolf cub's mouth to find his own eyeballs. I only saw the wolf cub twitching his tongue. The eyeball that was hidden somewhere in the mouth rolled out instantly. The zombies were so happy when they saw the eyeball. Roar. After putting the eyeball back into the socket, the zombie reached out and touched the wolf cub's head. The wolf cub was also happily rolling on the ground, turning over its belly and letting the zombies tickle it. The 2 monsters were playing the eyeball throwing game, making some strange noises from time to time. Like they are communicating. Although I couldn't understand what they were communicating, I could see that they were having a lot of fun. The 2 monsters were walking, and suddenly they stopped. They seemed to have noticed something. The zombie and the wolf cub immediately hid among the low leaves. They had just hidden for a while when they saw a group of players coming over. This dense forest is great. It's a great place to spawn monsters. Indeed, if the pedicure shed is built here, we can spawn monsters during the day. Then tell the president and get ready to start work. Chapter 49, The Wolf with a Buggy Collar. This group of players belongs to the Eternal Guild. They are a subsidiary guild of the current number 1 guild, the Eternal Glory Guild. As the first guild, it is natural that many subsidiary guilds will be established. Currently, the Eternal Glory Guild has 2 affiliated guilds, one is the Eternal Guild and the other is the Glory Guild. The headquarters of several guilds are not together. Instead, they were separated into 3 places, East, West and North, and developed and grew independently. As the number 1 guild in the game, their strength is naturally extraordinary. The Eternal Glory Guild has been promoted to a level 3 guild, and the number of guild players has directly reached 50,000. The Eternal Guild is slightly worse, and was previously a level 2 guild. It will take some time to be promoted to a level 3 guild. This is also the reason why players from the Eternal Guild would choose locations everywhere and build a large number of pedicure sheds. The dense forest here is the perfect place to build a pedicure shed. After the players chose a location, they immediately went back to report to their superiors. Not long after the players left, zombies appeared with wolf cubs at the place where the players were just now. Looking at the players leaving backs, the zombie seemed to be thinking about something. After a moment, he bent down and took off the black collar of the wolf cub beside him. Roar, roar. The zombie seemed to be communicating something with the wolf cub. Ah, ah. The wolf cub seemed to understand what the zombie meant and responded to him. After the two monsters communicated for a while, they saw the wolf cub sniffing the smell on the ground and running in the direction the players left. The players of the Eternal Guild chatted as they headed towards the guild headquarters. After walking for half a day, they were about to reach the guild headquarters. A few players suddenly sensed something and turned to look towards the dense forest. When everyone turned around, they saw a wolf cub wandering around the entrance of the jungle. Huh, are there still wolves in this dense forest? I've been here several times before, but I don't think I've seen any wolves. It seems that there are indeed no wolves in this area. Do you have any bones? Tame one and take it back. I happen to have some here, take it. It so happened that there were no wolves near the Eternal Guild's headquarters. Wolves are considered a scarce resource in this area. The players decided to tame the wolf they saw. A player with the ID Peng Peng walked towards the wolf cub with a bone. Seeing this, the wolf cub subconsciously prepared to escape, but suddenly he stopped where he was as if he remembered something. Peng Peng handed the bone to the wolf cub. The wolf cub sniffed it and ate it directly. Then continued to wander. Seeing this, Peng Peng took out another bone and continued feeding the baby. The wolf cub repeated its previous behavior, sniffing and then eating. About 2 minutes later, shit, am I that dark? I've fed it 30 bones. And it's still not tamed. When the wolf cub heard this, he thought Peng Peng was going to give up, so he immediately forced himself to eat the 31st bone that Peng Peng handed to him. The wolf cub had just finished eating when he saw Peng Peng took out another bone. Fortunately, I brought enough. There are still 20 left. If it still hasn't been tamed after feeding it, forget it. When the wolf cub heard what the player said, his whole body froze. After forcing itself to chew the last bone, it could not eat any more and sat down on the ground. Then he wagged his tail at Peng Peng desperately. At this moment, Peng Peng was a little confused when he saw this. Is this tamed? Didn't they say that a collar would appear after the tamed animal was tamed? Seeing this, other players came over curiously. It's sitting down and wagging its tail. It must be tamed, right? Maybe there's a bug, and the collar can't be displayed. Just give it orders and see. If it obeys, then it has been tamed successfully. After hearing what everyone said, Peng Peng also gave a few orders to the wolf cub. The wolf cubs did the same. If she's so obedient, she must be tamed. I guess you fed it too fast and the collar got stuck and didn't come out. Seeing that the wolf cub was very obedient, Peng Peng no longer worried about the collar. Suck, suck, suck. From now on you will be called Little Bug. Do you hear me? Everyone brought the wolf cub back to the Eternal Guild headquarters. The sky gradually darkened. In the dense forest, the zombies kept staring at the entrance of the forest, looking very anxious. At this moment, a wolf howl was heard in the distance. The zombie immediately ran in the direction of the wolf's howl. Not long after he walked, he saw a wolf cub with a big belly, running towards him, panting. Roar, roar, roar. The zombie immediately picked up the wolf cub and looked around, as if he was afraid that it was injured. Ah! The wolf cub also licked the zombie's face in response. After making sure that the wolf cub was fine, the zombie seemed very angry and lectured the wolf cub. The wolf cub, however, was arguing about something with a look of grievance on his face. Roar, roar, roar. Ah, roar, ah. Quote. They communicated again, and it seemed that both sides had an argument. The two sides had been arguing for a long time. Seeing the wolf cub was so persistent, the zombie sighed loudly, as if he had compromised. Roar. When the wolf cub saw the zombie compromise, he wagged his tail faster and seemed very happy. After jumping up and licking the zombie's face, the wolf cub ran towards the direction of the Eternal Guild's headquarters. Looking at the wolf cubs departing back, the zombie seemed to be thinking about something. He looked at the black collar of the wolf cub in his hand, then let out a long sigh. His hands unconsciously gripped the collar tighter. It was obvious that he was concerned about the wolf cub's safety, but he seemed to have to let it go. You can see that it seems to be struggling with something in its heart. He looked up at the sky. The moon in the night sky was blocked by clouds, and most of the stars were also covered. Only 2 stars very close to each other shined unusually brightly. Like a pair of glowing eyes. The zombie looked at the 2 shining stars in a daze, as if he was thinking about something in his mind. After a moment, he finally made up his mind and let out a firm roar towards the night sky. Roar, comma. Xu Yuan was busy making the monster tower, and before he knew it, a day had passed. 1 day is equal to 6 in-game hours. In other words, Xu Yuan spent more than 6 hours on this monster tower. Xu Yuan thought that with the flying skill, it would be quite fast to build a monster tower. But it was obvious that Xu Yuan was overthinking it. To build a large monster-killing tower, the materials needed were far beyond Xu Yuan's imagination. Previously, when Xu Yuan made large monster towers, he basically did it in creative mode. Just take all the materials directly from the backpack. As for survival mode, Xu Yuan doesn't have such a big demand, so he can just make a small monster tower each time. I didn't expect that the workload of building a monster tower in survival mode would be so huge. But finally, hard work pays off. The monster tower has finally reached the stage of completion. All we need is another killing device. Originally Xu Yuan hadn't thought of making an execution device, but then he thought, since he had already done it, he might as well make a collection device. Gold nuggets and gold ingots dropped by zombified piglins are still useful. You can take it to the piglin to exchange items for goods. When the time comes, tame a piglin, raise it to the primary or intermediate level of consciousness, and then let it come to you to exchange items. The main reason is that Xu Yuan has not yet encountered any villages or villagers. There is no way to obtain supplies in large quantities, and the best choice at the moment is the piglin exchange. In the past 2 days, Xu Yuan has been paying attention to the news from the Yuntang Guild. I didn't expect that they were all such hardcore gamers. After 6 hours, they were still wandering around in the Hell Fortress. Xu Yuan couldn't help but complain. It will take 6 hours to tear down and rebuild this Hell Fortress, right? Chapter 50, Two-Handed Plan. As an old player, Xu Yuan is naturally familiar with exploring the Nether Fortress. But for the players of the Yuntang Guild, every step needs to be taken with caution. Furthermore, this Hell Fortress is really huge and full of twists and turns. Players from the Yuntang Guild got lost many times while exploring, let alone exploring quickly. Seeing that the Yuntang Guild showed no signs of leaving, Xu Yuan continued to use his clone to stay there. The main body came to the main world to look for materials to make the execution device. After spending more than an hour collecting supplies, Xu Yuan began to repair the monster tower. More than an hour passed before Xu Yuan's monster tower was completed. There was finally some movement from the clone's side. Finally the exploration is over. This Hell Fortress is so G huge. There are so G many monsters inside. Although I'm almost exhausted, the harvest this time is indeed not small. I really made a fortune. I just don't know if this is the only Hell Fortress. If I can still find it, I can't even imagine it. Quote. After clearing the Hell Fortress, the players were discussing excitedly. I saw Yunli coming over and smiling. Thank you all for your hard work. This time we have achieved a lot, and it's all thanks to everyone. These supplies will be distributed to the brothers as needed when the time comes. As the vice president, the skill of making promises is fully maxed out. After hearing Yunli's words, the players were extremely excited. Thank you, boss. Boss, should we continue to open up Wasteland in the lower world or return to the base? Let's go back first. Everyone's stuff is full. It would be a waste if we bring so many things to open up the wasteland and they explode. Quote. The players were all exhausted and naturally wanted to go back and rest. After hearing what the players said, Yunli thought for a moment and said, let's put the things in the outdoor laboratory first, and then everyone can rest there for a while before continuing to open up new land. Since the establishment of the Yuntang Guild, the guild has always maintained confidentiality very well. They also set up an outdoor research room far away from the guild headquarters. The research laboratory is equivalent to a secret base of the Yuntang Guild. Some of the think tanks in the guild live in the outdoor research room. The most fundamental difference between a large guild like Yuntang and an individual guild is that they have good confidentiality. If they developed a pedicure shed, they would definitely not publicize it as much as Xiaopo did. They would definitely develop it quietly first. After hearing Yunli's words, the players of the Yuntang Guild had no objection. This has always been the rule of the guild, and these core players are well aware of the importance of confidentiality. After hearing Yunli's words, Xu Yuan wanted to die. So cautious. I have to say that there is a huge difference between a solo guild leader who changed his career halfway and the guild leader of a big guild. From the perspective of information confidentiality, Yunli is already far ahead of Xiaopo. Although Xiaopo knew to keep the guide to the pedicure shed secret after getting it, he still publicized it on the forum. Yunli was much more cautious and kept the secret so tight that he even kept it a secret from the people in the guild. Only the core members of the guild know. But Xu Yuan could understand it, because he had founded a guild when he was playing games before and had encountered spies from various other guilds. If the guild wants to grow and develop, the strength of its members is important, but confidentiality must also be maintained. Before this, Xu Yuan had only come into contact with individual guilds like Triumph, and he thought that other guilds were similar to Triumph. But I didn't expect that I was too naive. Yunli and Xiaopo are completely two extremes. One is thinking nothing, the other is thinking too much. After thinking about this, Xu Yuan sighed. Kill points are hard to earn and shit is hard to eat. I can only follow. Xu Yuan also heard what the players of Yuntang Guild just said. They will not return to the base at this moment, but will go to some outdoor laboratory. Although there is no way to find their base at the moment, Xu Yuan is determined to follow them. After all, it is impossible for them to never return to the base for the rest of their lives. Although Xu Yuan knew that their guild headquarters was nearby, it would still be difficult for him to find it if he went there himself. After all, the base may be in the east, west, south or north. The entire search area is too large, and blindly searching will only waste time. It would be better to just follow this group of players, they will naturally lead the way. Xu Yuan has been controlling his clone and tracking the players of the Yuntang Guild. The main body came to the frame of the netherworld portal in the main world and found a place to hide. After walking for more than an hour, the players of the Yuntang Guild finally arrived near the portal to the nether. Xu Yuan watched as the players from the Yuntang Guild entered the portal to the nether. He was not in a hurry. After waiting for a while, he drove his clone into the portal. As soon as he appeared in the main world, Xu Yuan immediately drove his clone to hide underground and continue to follow the group of players. The main body was looking for cover and continued to monitor the people in the Yuntang Guild. Xu Yuan followed this group of players for more than an hour. Finally, I saw the outdoor research room they mentioned. It's said to be an outdoor research room, but it's actually just a plane with a few matchboxes built on it. It looks like it should be a temporary residence for players. There are also some pedicure sheds around the matchbox. On the north side of the plane, there were a dozen players gathered together. They were all huddled together and seemed to be discussing something. Seeing Yunli and his group coming over, the other players immediately surrounded them. Vice President, you are finally here. We have studied the withered skeleton's head for a long time after looking at the photo. We think it should be a summoned creature. It's just right that you are here. We can start the experiment right away. Have you collected most of the blocks in the netherworld? I think you can use those things. Quote. The think tank had also received the news from Yunfeng a long time ago, but they could not do any research with just a photo. I'm just looking forward to Yunli bringing the real thing. Yunli nodded upon seeing this, and then handed over the wither skeleton's head and the collected nether blocks to the group of players in the think tank. You guys take your time to study, we'll take a break first. After hearing what the Yuntang Guild members said, Xu Yuan couldn't hold it in anymore. It seems that we have to make two plans. Judging from the situation, they won't be returning to the base for a while. After thinking about this, Xu Yuan left his clone here. The main body began to look for the Yuntang Guild's base nearby. Check out our playlist for more amazing novels. Chapter 51, Withering Control is unlocked successfully. These days, Xu Yuan has been searching around for the Yuntang Guild's base. But no clues were found. It was as if they had disappeared out of thin air. Just when Xu Yuan was about to lose his patience, the clone finally made some progress. Has the guild supported you guys in vain? After so many days, you still haven't figured out this crappy thing. Can you guys use your brains? Do all monsters have snow golem-like lower bodies? Are there no other possible combinations? There are only a few blocks in the underworld. Is it difficult to arrange them in different combinations? Quote. While Yunli was lecturing the guild leaders, he did not stop placing the wither skeleton heads on various nether blocks. Originally, Yunli thought that this thing could be developed very quickly. But I didn't expect that after spending so much time on it, I still haven't figured it out. Use your imagination. That is the underworld, or hell. What kind of monsters are there in hell? That who, you tell me. Yunli said, pointing at a high-ranking player in the guild, and the player was stunned when he saw this. Then he scratched his head, thought for a while and said, "Hell, the three-headed dog of hell." When the player said this, he looked at Yunli nervously. After hearing the player's words, Yunli gave an affirmative smile. That's right. Everything before was based on one head, so isn't it reasonable for a monster to have three heads? As Yunli was speaking, he stopped in front of a piece of soul sand arranged in a T shape. Originally, the players in the guild used the scarecrow as a prototype to test whether this combination would work. Yunli saw this and didn't think much about it. He directly took out two withered skeleton heads and placed them on both sides of the middle head. Seeing that there was still no reaction, Yunli instantly changed his attitude. Damn it! What the hell is the three-headed dog? This is a skull. Think about it again. After Yunli finished speaking, he turned around and prepared to leave. The players behind him looked as if they had seen a ghost, their eyes wide open as they stared in the direction behind Yunli. The boss, is alive. It's done. It's done. What the hell? It really has three heads. Quote. After hearing what the players said, Yunli turned around again. I saw that the head of the withered skeleton that had just been placed was slowly waking up. The soul sand beneath the head also began to slowly change shape. In just a few seconds, a few blocks turned into a white sternum with half a spine. Then the whole body rapidly grew larger at a speed visible to the naked eye. After all the transformations are completed, the entire body is 20 blocks high. Only at this point did the monster stop growing, and its name finally appeared on its head. Wither. At this moment, Wither is still in the form of being summoned, with only half health. But although he couldn't move at this moment, he was invincible. After slowly recovering to full health, he will explode once and then enter flight mode. Yunli obviously didn't know the characteristics of withering. He was a little surprised when he saw that Wither didn't attack him immediately after being summoned. This monster looks so strong. A purple name. Isn't it a neutral or hostile creature? In general, the colors of the names above the heads of neutral creatures and hostile creatures are different in the game. Neutral creeps have yellow names above their heads. Hostile mobs have their names above their heads in red. And at this moment, the withered name is purple-red. As a boss, withering must be distinguished from other monsters. But Yunli didn't know this. The players were also a little surprised when they saw this. We summoned this thing. Could it be considered our pet? It's possible. It didn't even attack us. No wonder this head is so hard to explode. The summoned creature is so cool. I just don't know how strong it is. It looks pretty strong. Just based on its appearance and size, it can't be weak. Quote. The players were discussing and saw that Wither's health was slowly recovering. This group of players had no idea that danger was coming and even gathered around Wither to observe it carefully. When Xu Yuan saw the current situation, he panicked for a moment. These players obviously don't know the strength of withering. Withering is not attacking at this moment only because of his characteristics. Once his health is full, he will start to kill everyone. Facing the upper wither, there is no doubt that none of these players will be able to escape. The explosion after the health is restored is enough to wipe them out. Xu Yuan certainly couldn't accept the players being wiped out. I've been following them for so long, if they were wiped out, the clue would be lost. I want to keep this group of players without exposing myself. There is only one way, which is to control the wither and make these players think it is a summoned creature. Thinking of this, Xu Yuan immediately opened the system panel. Do you want to spend 2 million deterrent power to unlock the control authority of Wither? Closing square bracket. Yes. Unlocked successfully. Chapter 52 is interesting. Basically, the output per hour is 100,000 deterrents, which means the efficiency is 10,000 monsters per hour. With this kind of efficiency, the deterrent effect is just barely enough. After unlocking control of Wither, I watched as Wither's health was restored to full. It was about to explode, and Xu Yuan immediately controlled his clone to control the withering on the plane. After withering was controlled, Xu Yuan also released its self-destruct mode. It can be considered that Yunli and his group have been saved. When Yunli and his group saw that Withering had no intention of attacking them, they moved closer. They carefully looked at the huge creature in front of them, and voices of praise rang out one after another. This monster is so majestic. It feels like a boss. Is it really a summoned beast? Did the vice president get any hints or something? Yeah, there seem to be prompts for taming animals. Quote. Hearing the players' questions, Yunli shook his head. I didn't receive any taming reminder. I guess the taming methods for monsters and animals are different. Yunli is a cautious person. But at this moment, he saw that he had summoned such a huge creature, and it had not attacked him yet. He also let down his guard. How cool would it be to take this summon out? After thinking about this, Yunli also became a little curious. Although this monster looks cool, Yunli still doesn't know its abilities. If it's just an empty frame, it's useless. After thinking about this, Yunli suddenly felt at a loss. After summoning this monster, there was no summoning beast panel or anything like that. He really didn't know how to control this huge monster. Yunli looked at the monster, pointed his finger at a sheep wandering nearby, and gave a tentative order. Attack. Not long after Yunli issued the order, he saw Withering slowly flying into the sky. A black wither skull-like object shot out from the mouth of one of the three heads. The head flew quickly towards Yang Yangjun. The moment it touched Yang Yang Kun, it exploded. Before Yang Yang could react, the lamb had become a roasted whole lamb. A deep pit was blown out where it was, and a bunch of black roses appeared in the pit. When all the players in the guild saw this, they all exclaimed in surprise. What the hell? So strong. Awesome. This monster can actually fly. I am so sad. It is so gentle and even knows how to send flowers. Quote. Wither's attack undoubtedly shocked the players of the Yuntang Guild. It can be said that this is the most powerful monster they have encountered since entering the game. It can fly and has strong attack power. The players also didn't expect that such a powerful monster would actually be a summon. With this summon, not to mention the main world, even the monsters in the underworld would probably not be its match. Thinking of this, Yunli was so happy. He immediately continued to order Wither to demonstrate his skills. Withering was also very cooperative and kept showing off his various skills. A few minutes later, the outdoor research room of the Yuntang Guild was already full of holes due to the bombing. Yunli and the other players were not displeased at all. Too strong. Its attack can actually suck blood. Although it didn't lose any blood, I just checked and it seems to be sucking 5% of the blood each time. That's ridiculous. Such a powerful monster is actually a summon. With this thing, I can walk sideways in the main world and the underworld. Who do you think will win if this Withering fights against him? I think it should be Wither. They both have explosive skills, but Wither is ranged and can fly. I think it's Wither, too. After all, it can restore health. Quote. The players' discussion naturally fell into Yunli's ears. If the players hadn't reminded him, Yunli would have almost forgotten that him had appeared near the base before. After thinking about this, Yunli glanced at the Withering floating in the air. Then, as if he suddenly thought of something, he asked Xu Yuan beside him. How many Wither skulls do we have now? Xu Yuan counted for a while and then answered. There are 27 more. These days, Yunli has been sending people to the Hell Fortress to collect Wither skeleton skulls. The hard work these days has paid off. Yunli became excited instantly when he heard this number. So much. This battle should be winnable. After hearing this, Xu Yuan was a little confused. Ah, what kind of war? Yunli saw this and smiled. Didn't someone say before that him was near our base? After hearing Yunli's words, Xu Yuan was completely stunned. Ah, Vice President, do you want to fight him? Xu Yuan was not stupid either, he immediately understood what Yunli meant. Yunli just nodded, then glanced at Withering beside him. With Withering here, and if I can control it, this battle should be a sure win. Yunli is still very confident in his own abilities. Furthermore, Yunli had also studied him in detail before. Him's own strength is actually not very strong. What we know now is that he can control monsters, teleport, and has explosive skills. That's all. In terms of strength, I'm afraid it's not as good as the Withering one next to it. The fact that Wither can fly alone is enough to restrain him. The reason why him is feared is because of his strategy and his ability to guess people's minds. Yunli believes that he will never lose to him in this regard. If he had the same ability as him, he would definitely be able to do what him did. Currently, he no longer has such special abilities, but he does get a wither that has powerful abilities of its own as a summon. With such a powerful summoned creature, plus my own brain, Yunli felt that he could definitely defeat him. As long as they capture him, they won't have to move away and can continue to study the monster tower with peace of mind. Xu Yuan heard Yunli's plan clearly. After hearing Yunli's words, Xu Yuan was immediately amused. Interesting. Chapter 53 is finally here. Xu Yuan really admired Yunli's arrogant and daring character. If this game was full of people like Yunli, Xu Yuan wouldn't have to worry about kill counts at all. The main reason is that Xu Yuan currently does not have the ability to detect the player's locations. Therefore, we have always been in a relatively passive situation in terms of obtaining kill points. Xu Yuan also didn't know whether he would gain the ability to hack into data like him. The main thing is that looking at the entire game, there doesn't seem to be any monster that can invade the data. If there are monsters with this ability, Entity 303 is one and 0 value null is another. But at present, Xu Yuan is not sure whether they will appear, how they will appear, and where they will appear. Furthermore, even if they showed up now, it would be difficult for Xu Yuan to deal with them given his current strength. Therefore, Xu Yuan could only use some tricks and not miss any opportunity to gain kill points. Then I'll spend some time playing with you. At present, Xu Yuan has obtained the first kill of monsters in the netherworld, and basically all the things that need to be done have been done. If I have to say it, it's that I haven't gotten the first kill of the Ender Dragon yet. However, there is no need to rush about this matter, as players' current progress is unlikely to allow them to defeat the Ender Dragon. Even if it is defeated, Xu Yuan can still use the End Crystal to revive the dragon. So Xu Yuan is not in a hurry. At present, it is definitely more important to grasp the kill value in front of you. After hearing Yunli's words, the senior executives were a little unsure, but when they looked at the powerful dowling in front of them, their confidence instantly swelled. There are still 27 heads left. 39 is 27, which means I can summon another 9 withers. With this one, that's 10. I think there's hope. More than just a chance. 10 withers. If him dares to come, we'll just bombard him together and blow him to pieces. I feel like if we can design a perfect layout, it should be a sure win. After all, he hasn't discovered us yet, and doesn't know we summoned the withering. Quote. Although the senior executives were praising him, Yunli did not get carried away. He naturally believed in his own strength, but after all, he was fighting against him, so it was better to be cautious. After thinking about this, Yunli said to everyone, "It's better to stay away from the battlefield. It's better to be safe than sorry. Then pick out 9 members of the elite group and have each of them summon a wither." After Yunli said this, he turned around and glanced at the players present. "You are the only ones who know about the guild's discovery of the nether portal and the summoning of the wither. You are all veterans of the guild, so you should know what to do, right? Basically all large guilds have an unwritten rule. That is, the guild will consciously keep confidentiality when conducting confidential activities, prove its innocence and clear all suspicion. The old members of the guild also know this. Since all the major guilds are involved in the development of various games, as long as games are involved, there will definitely be various strategies. These strategies are undoubtedly the core of the guild's development. Although the various large guilds appear to be at peace on the surface, they are all competing against each other secretly. Basically, there are some spies sent by other guilds in every guild. Gather information, pass on intelligence and strategies. Just like the number 1 ranked Eternal Glory Guild, it was promoted to a level 3 guild long before Steve revealed the pedicure shed strategy on his live broadcast. As the first guild, their strength should not be underestimated, but promotion to the 3rd level guild requires a large amount of player kill points. Even if players look for monsters to kill day and night, they may not be able to advance so quickly. The reason they were able to advance to level 3 so quickly was naturally because they had already arranged for people to infiltrate the Triumph Guild to explore the secrets. After Yunli discovered the portal to the netherworld, he has been sending some core members to deal with this matter. The other members of the guild were completely unaware of the information about the nether and the summoning of the wither. Big guilds won't advertise and recruit people as soon as they get a strategy, like Xiaopo did. This behavior is equivalent to giving away the strategy that you have worked hard to research. The senior leaders of the Yuntang Guild naturally understood this. Understood. The online status has been changed to offline. Don't worry, Vice President. I understand. We all signed a confidentiality agreement, so I understand this. We are all veterans of the guild, and everyone understands that we will just stay here temporarily for the next few days. I'll trouble you, Vice President, to come in person to coordinate with the base. Quote. The friend system in the game automatically adjusts its status. When it is adjusted to offline status, you can receive messages but cannot reply. The high-level players of the Yuntang Guild are also very self-conscious. With this set of procedures, there is no need to worry about secrets being leaked. Seeing that everyone was very conscious, Yunli nodded with satisfaction. This group of players are all veteran players of the Yuntang Guild, and Yunli still has great trust in them. But it is better to be safe than sorry, so it is still necessary to get a preventive measure in advance. The two guides of nether information and withering are not as good as the pedicure shed. These two strategies will undoubtedly bring huge improvements to the guild, so they must not be leaked. Okay, thank you for your hard work. Gather everyone here in a moment and start deploying the encirclement and suppression plan. Once we finish this, we will be able to return victorious. After hearing Yunli's words, Xu Yuan finally smiled. I've finally waited for it. At this moment, inside the Eternal Guild's headquarters, the senior executives sat together, all with worried looks on their faces. When President Tian Heng saw the senior executives like this, he could no longer bear it and became furious. I asked you to find a place to build a pedicure shed, but you didn't finish it after 2 days, and you lost 300 sets of iron sets. Damn it, you guys can't even deal with those ordinary monsters. Don't ever say you're from the Eternal Guild again. The guild can't afford to lose face like this. After hearing Tian Heng's words, the senior executives also looked aggrieved. President, I really can't blame them. They are very strange and specialize in sneak attacks. Yeah. Those monsters are really not ordinary monsters. It feels like those monsters are under control. Could it be that him is causing trouble? Chapter 54 A Special Wolf. In order to accelerate its development, the Eternal Guild has recently been looking for places to build pedicure sheds. After all, the Eternal Glory Guild has already reached the level 3 guild, and as a subsidiary guild, we have to speed up our progress as well. Furthermore, the Eternal Guild and the Glorious Guild are both affiliated guilds of the Eternal Glorious Guild. Although the two guilds seemed to be getting along well with each other, they were secretly competing with each other, trying to determine who was superior. Tian Heng had been thinking about expanding some more pedicure sheds these days so that he could become a level 3 guild before the Brilliant Guild. But I didn't expect that strange things would happen so frequently when building a pedicure shed. Whenever players go to the forest near the base, they will be attacked by monsters. These monsters suddenly became much smarter overnight. The thieves were defeated in tunnel warfare and sneak attacks. The pedicure shed is simply not equipped to handle them. Every time it was built, it would be blown down by creepers. These monsters are like an organized and disciplined army, and they don't look like ordinary monsters at all. Players have encountered many setbacks because of these monsters. Even the iron sets were sold out in more than 300 sets. All these equipment were picked up by the monsters. As time went by, the monsters became better and better equipped, and became more and more difficult to deal with. This is also the reason why the Eternal Guild held this meeting. What happened these past few days is really weird. This also made the senior executives feel that him seemed to be behind this matter. Those monsters seem to be under control. This trick is obviously what him is best at. After hearing what the senior executive said, Tian Heng shook his head in anger. The food is the food, him can't take the blame for it. Him has been hanging around Yuntang Guild recently. Yuntang Guild is thousands of miles away from us. How can he get here? Unless he can flash. Besides, if him really came, with his means, would he hide like this if he found us? Tianeng had already received news that him was lurking near the Yuntang Guild. That's why he got so angry after hearing what the senior executive said. If it was really him coming, it wouldn't just be a matter of losing 300 sets of iron sets. Therefore, Tianeng could be sure that what happened here was definitely not done by him. But this approach is indeed somewhat similar to the previous him. After Tian Heng thought about this, he asked the high-level players. When we first chose that forest as the site, did anything strange happen? After hearing this, all the senior executives shook their heads. It seems not. We have sent players to explore that forest before, and there is nothing suspicious. Yes, although the players were besieged by monsters when exploring, they were easily defeated. Quote. After hearing this, Tian Heng frowned, but then continued to ask without giving up. Nothing weird happened. Think about it again. After hearing Tian Heng's question, all the senior executives began to recall carefully. After a while, a high-level player seemed to have thought of something. Yes, there really is something. Seeing this, Tian Heng raised his chin and signaled the senior management to continue speaking. It's like this. There's a player named Peng Peng in the guild. I sent him out to survey the forest terrain. Nothing happened when they were checking, but when they were leaving the forest, they saw a wolf. As everyone knows, we have never encountered wolves around here. We have been to the forest many times and have never seen one. Peng Peng thought it was curious, so he went to tame the wolf. But what's strange is that even though it's tamed, there's no collar around the wolf's neck. Logically speaking, if the taming is successful, a collar should appear. Peng Peng also felt strange at the time, but the wolf actually obeyed orders, including sit, stand, and attack. Peng Peng thought it was a bug, so he didn't think much about it and brought it back. Since there were no wolves in the Eternal Guild before, Peng Peng bringing back this wolf would indeed attract some attention. Furthermore, it didn't have a collar on it, and this high-level player had some impression of this. When Tian Heng heard this, he immediately became alert. When Steve live broadcasted the Battle of the Triumph Guild, Tianeng also watched the entire process. Him can control wolves. It just so happened that their guild had tamed another wolf with a bug. This is too much of a coincidence. After thinking about this, Tian Heng immediately gave orders. Call that Peng Peng. Remember, avoid that wolf. After a while, Peng Peng was called over. Seeing the atmosphere in the room, Peng Peng thought he had committed a crime, so he lowered his head and dared not breathe. Tian Heng saw this and smiled to liven up the atmosphere. Don't be nervous. I asked you to come here this time because I heard that you tamed a wolf before. There are no wolves near the guild. Wolves are a scarce resource. You have done a great service to the guild. I heard this wolf is a little special. After hearing Tianeng's words, Peng Peng finally breathed a sigh of relief. After hearing Tianeng asking about the wolf cub, Peng Peng started to speak freely without any reservations. Yes, the little bug ate more than 30 of my bones before it was tamed. It's different from other wolves. It doesn't have a collar. They said it was a bug, so I called it Little Bug. It's so smart. It can even play the frisbee game. Once I was with it. Seeing Peng Peng talking attentively but not getting to the point at all, Tianeng felt helpless and interrupted him immediately. Is there anything else special about this wolf? After hearing this, Peng Peng thought for a moment and then nodded. Come to think of it, it seems like there is something special about it. After we were farther apart, it seemed like it couldn't teleport to me. They said it might be because of a bug in the collar. Then it is very playful and always likes to sneak out to play. Many times I couldn't find it after searching for a long time. However, it still misses home and will go back home. Maybe it is because it was used to being outside and suddenly it is not used to having a home. Also, it seems to be very afraid of monsters. When I encountered a monster before and asked it to attack, it just hid behind me. After hearing Peng Peng's description of the wolf, Tianeng finally confirmed his guess. It seems that the problem lies with the wolf. What can be confirmed now is that there must be something wrong with the wolf that came from nowhere. Thinking of this, Tianeng smiled at Peng Peng. Okay, there's nothing for you to do now, go down first. After Peng Peng left, Tianeng gave a wink to the senior executives. Send someone to keep an eye on the wolf, and notify me immediately if there is any movement. Chapter 55 is expected, he is him's chief disciple. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell from Peng Peng's words that there was something wrong with the wolf. But Peng Peng was kept in the dark. He just thought that this wolf was very special. Maybe it's because this is the first wolf he has tamed, and this wolf is not as formulaic as other animals. That's why Peng Peng doted on him so much, and he didn't realize that there was anything wrong with this wolf. After Tian Heng arranged things, many veteran players in the guild immediately received orders to keep an eye on the small bug. Tian Heng also deliberately gave the order in front of Xiao Bug to clear out the monsters in the forest early tomorrow morning. Tianeng is also a case of fishing enforcement, just waiting for small bugs to take the bait. The sky gradually darkened. The players of the Eternal Guild also began to take turns to go to the pedicure shed to get pedicures as usual. Peng Peng was originally scheduled for the day shift, but the player on shift suddenly said he had something to do. Although Peng Peng was reluctant, he had no choice but to help take over. Be good and behave yourself at home, and I'll bring you some spicy noodles when I come back. After Peng Peng and Little Bug spent some time together, he went out to work. Not long after Peng Peng left, he saw Little Bug sneaking out. It looked around, and when it saw that no one was paying attention to it, it quietly moved towards the entrance of the camp. It skillfully bypassed the patrolling players and crawled along the wall. It looked so familiar with the route that you could tell it wasn't the first time it had slipped out. It may also be because it has slipped out many times without being discovered, so its vigilance has decreased a little. It was only thinking about how to avoid the danger in front of it, but it didn't notice that there were several people following it. Damn, there's something wrong with this wolf. Look at how skilled it is at hiding from people. This must not be the first time it has escaped. It's hard to guard against a thief in your own home. Who the hell knew that the spy was actually a wolf cub? Shish, keep your voice down and follow us to see what's going on. Quote. This group of players from the Eternal Guild naturally received orders from Tianheng to monitor the small bug. When they received the task, they thought Tianheng was being a little suspicious. But I didn't expect that the problem actually came from a small bug. The players slowly followed behind the wolf cub, crawling all the way, for fear of alarming the wolf cub. Although they encountered some monster attacks along the way, fortunately this group of players were still quite skilled. After defeating the monster, he quickly hid himself and was not discovered by the small bug. After following for about half an hour, we finally arrived at the forest. Seeing the small bug running into the forest, the players followed closely in. Not long after entering the forest, the players saw the small bug stop. Upon seeing this, the players of the Eternal Guild immediately hid behind some trees. Little Bug stopped and looked back. After making sure that no one was following him, he raised his head and began to howl. Ouch! 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 The howling of the little bug is very regular, as if it is conveying some kind of secret code. Its sound also echoed in the forest. Not long after, a zombie wearing a diamond suit slowly walked out from the depths of the forest. After seeing the small bug, the zombie first bent down and observed it carefully. After making sure that there were no scars on Little Bug's body, he reached out and touched Little Bug's head. Roar! Little Bug was also wagging its tail quickly and licking the zombie's cheek with its tongue. When the players of the Eternal Guild saw this scene, they were all stunned. Quote. If I'm not mistaken, this zombie is wearing a diamond suit, right? Hiss, this seems to be the black-skinned gym student zombie wearing a diamond suit next to him. What the hell? Could it be that him sent him? Looking at the way he gets along with the wolf cub, it seems like he has his own thoughts, right? It's outrageous. I never thought I'd see a zombie petting a dog in my lifetime. Quote. The diamond suit on the zombie is so dazzling. Looking around the game, only HIM's subordinates have such treatment. Besides, 007 does look different from other zombies, so he is still very recognizable. The players of the Eternal Guild recognized 007 at a glance. The little bug stayed with 007 and let it play with him for a long time before he calmed down. Naturally, it has not forgotten its mission. Little Bug called out to 007, as if telling 007 some message. After 007 understood what the little bug meant, he couldn't help but frown. Roar! He thought about it for a long time, and finally seemed to have come up with a solution and communicated with Little Bug. Roar! 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 Quote. After the two monsters communicated with each other, they played for a while. Only then did Little Bug say goodbye to 007 reluctantly. After saying goodbye to 007, Little Bug also returned to the base. After Little Bug left, all kinds of red eyes were seen in the forest surrounding 007. The number of monsters is about 300 to 400. These monsters include zombies, spiders, creepers, white monsters, black monsters, and little zombies. Among these monsters, basically all those that can wear equipment are wearing iron equipment. Roar! 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 When he saw the monsters surrounding him, 007 seemed to be giving them some instructions. After receiving 07's message, the monsters all responded to it with all kinds of strange noises. They looked like a well-trained army. The players of the Eternal Guild felt their scalps tingling when they saw this. What were they just plotting? Let me translate for you. What should the players eat tomorrow? Braised. Steamed is better. Let's keep the original flavor. This is G outrageous. This is the first time I've seen monsters hold a meeting in a game. Those people were killed by them before. No wonder, they have a leader named Diamond Suit Zombie. As expected of HIM's chief disciple. Okay, let's go back and report. Quote. If the players of the Eternal Guild had not seen this scene in person, they would not have believed that monsters had thoughts. At this moment, only by seeing this scene with their own eyes did they know how shocking it was. This is when they are in the dark and the monsters are in the light. They couldn't help but start to put themselves in the shoes of the players from the previous triumphant guilds. When they know everything, how shocking would it be when it was all planned by him? After thinking about this, the players of the Eternal Guild suddenly felt a chill. I hope this incident was not planned by him. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 56, When beating a dog, you have to look at its owner. After seeing this scene, the players of the Eternal Guild who were tracking the small bug did not dare to delay. He immediately returned to the base and told Tianeng what had happened in detail. This is what happened. We saw the diamond suit zombie clearly. It was the one that appeared next to him when he attacked the city before. Quote. After hearing this, the guild leaders all felt nervous. Boss, are you sure him is near the Yuntang Guild? This is very much like HIM's style, could this be a trick? From what they said, it seems that the diamond-clad zombie also has thoughts. This is going to be difficult. Quote. After hearing what the senior executive said, Tianheng contacted his informant in the Yuntang Guild again. After confirming once again that him was indeed lurking near the Yuntang Guild, Tianheng finally spoke. This incident should not be done by him. If it was him, after using the wolf cubs to find out the location of our base, he could have used the same method he used to deal with the Triumph Guild to deal with us. There would have been no need to grind us down so slowly. Steve's previous live broadcast also made it very clear that the reason why him acted with the people from the Triumph Guild was to gather more people to that grassland. But the situation of the Eternal Guild is different from that of the Triumph Guild. They will not accept players casually. If him did it, he would have known this after he sent the wolf cub over. So he didn't need to act or do any of that, he could just attack directly. After Tianheng thought about this, he analyzed it carefully and then said, I feel that the monster's actions this time were probably done by the zombie in the diamond suit. He also evolved thoughts and consciousness along with him, so his behavior is more similar to HIM. After hearing this, the senior executives had no objection. Since it's not him, we should be able to deal with him, right? We are in the dark and he is in the light. Although he can control monsters, it seems that he can't control as many monsters as him. Only about 300 to 400. We were caught off guard before, but now that we know he's the one behind it, it's easier to deal with. We just need to devise a plan to encircle and suppress him. Well, even though he is well equipped, we are not pushovers. We can still deal with a little luo. Quote. The senior executives were discussing how to deal with diamond suit zombies, but one of the senior players seemed to be thinking about something. Seeing that the discussion among the senior executives was becoming more and more intense, he finally couldn't help but speak. Do we really want to touch him? As the saying goes, you have to look at the owner before you beat the dog. His owner is him. The high-level player's words caused the room, which had just been bustling with activity, to instantly fall silent. The high-level players then realized that they seemed to have missed the point. The point of the problem now is not how to kill diamond suit zombies, but whether we can kill him. It is well known to everyone that the diamond zombie is HIM's little brother. Moreover, since him put a diamond suit on him, it means that him values him very much. If someone from the Eternal Guild touches the diamond suit zombie, it means directly becoming an enemy of him. HIM will definitely find a way to find them when the time comes. Facing the diamond-level zombie, the Eternal Guild is still very confident that they can deal with him. But facing him, the Eternal Guild doesn't have that confidence. After hearing this, Tianheng also frowned. This is indeed a difficult problem. Although the players of the Eternal Guild were quite strong, they were indeed unsure of their chances against him. Next, there is eternal glory on top of the Eternal Guild. Tianheng does not have the power to make important decisions for the guild. If Tianeng decides to move the diamond suit zombies without authorization, then him will come to the door and the guild will be wiped out. Tianeng would not be able to complete the task. If this matter affects eternal glory, then Tianheng's position as the president may not be kept. After thinking about this, Tianeng also had a headache. If we don't kill them, the diamond suit zombies will continue to cause trouble and affect the development of the guild. If we kill him, we will offend him. Then the guild will not only not be able to develop, but will have to start from scratch. The only compromise is to find a way to drive away the diamond-suited zombies. But this is obviously impossible to achieve. The diamond suit zombie has thoughts, how could he just leave so easily? Damn it, I have to look at a monster's face to play a game. It's so frustrating. Tian Heng has played so many games, but has never encountered a situation like this. It was also the first time that he experienced the feeling of having to do things according to the monster's mood. Don't even mention how ed up that feeling is. When the high-level players saw that Tian Heng didn't say a word, they all became anxious and angry. So what should we do now? If we don't do it, how much equipment will we have to sacrifice? The key is that we can't control it. If him comes looking for us, the whole guild will be ruined. Damn it. We are being bullied by a monster and there is nothing we can do. Quote. The high-level players argued for a long time but could not come to any conclusion. Tian Heng thought for a long time, then let out a long sigh. Now we have no choice but to abandon that forest and find another place to build a pedicure shed. Let's strengthen the defense of the base. I guess this diamond suit zombie is not strong enough to attack the city, so it will launch a sneak attack. We should still send some players to the forest as usual. Don't wear iron equipment. Just treat it as a free gift to him. We should stabilize him first. After hearing Tian Heng's words, all the senior executives were stunned. They never imagined that the always arrogant Tian Heng would one day bow to a monster. But if you think about it carefully, Tianong's approach is indeed the best solution at present. The diamond suit zombie cannot be moved, and he cannot take any further action, so he can only send some players to kill him every day. In this way, the Eternal Guild can develop well in other places. As for whether to attack the diamond zombie and how to attack it, Tian Heng still has to ask for instructions from President Yongwei of Eternal Glory. Tianong couldn't make this decision, and he didn't want to take the blame. This is the safest method at present. Although the senior executives understood Tian Heng's idea, they all felt very aggrieved inside. Damn it. This is the first time I play a game where monsters treat me like masters. This diamond zombie set is really well treated, it's like a buffet delivered to your mouth. Oh, it doesn't matter. Anyway, I won't lose anything if I don't bring any equipment. Being HIM's little brother and still being treated like this, I almost want to defect. A little impatience can ruin a great plan. Oh, just be patient. Chapter 57, The Ender Dragon exclaimed 666 after seeing it. Compared to Yunli, Tianong is much smarter. He knows that he is not a match for him yet. But it is also because Tianong does not have any powerful trump cards in his hand now. If it was Tian Heng who summoned Withering, then the decision he would have made today would have been completely different. He might also try to challenge HIM's prestige like Yunli did. After Tian Heng's order was issued, the players of the Eternal Guild heard this outrageous decision. They were all very angry. However, they dare not speak out. They can only do what their superiors assign them to do and have no right to express their opinions. Because of Tianong's decision, the Eternal Guild also established a self-service feeding team. The players who join this team are carefully selected, and they are required to have good acting skills. Moreover, the members of the team are not fixed, and they will be replaced after a while. This is enough to show how much importance Tianong attaches to this matter. Just as the players of the Eternal Guild were improving their acting skills every day. The Yuntang Guild is also rehearsing a big show. At this moment, on the plain of the Yuntang Guild's outdoor research laboratory. The terrain in this area has been bombed beyond recognition, with gullies and ravines everywhere. 10 huge withered creatures floated above the plain. Under each wither, there is a player standing. You all know these skills of withering, so you must use them flexibly. Him is very cunning. We must be more comprehensive and more thoughtful than he thinks. So we cannot appear within HIM's field of vision during the entire battle. Once we show up, he will immediately realize that these witherings are controlled by us, and his attack target will turn to us. Once we die, the witherings will no longer pose a threat to him. Yunli taught the elites of the 9 elite groups in front of him by words and deeds. He also understood it very clearly. He knew very well that apart from Wither, they were no match for him at all. Only with the brains of these elite members and the strength of Withering can they have a chance to defeat him. Therefore, this battle must be planned very well. They have to hide in the dark and kill him quickly without him finding them. Otherwise, if him finds out that Wither was manipulated by them, he will definitely attack them first. So they have to hide where him can't find them. The members of the elite group are no pushovers, so there is naturally no problem with their operations. They also knew that this battle was a gamble for the entire guild. Either you die or I die. Naturally, the members of the elite group did not dare to be negligent and kept every word Yunli said in mind. Seeing the determined eyes of the elite players, Yunli felt more confident. The members of this elite group were carefully trained by the guild. Those selected by Yunli from the elite group were naturally the elites among the elites. Yunli still believes in their strength. After negotiating with the elite group, Yunli also came to the remaining high-level players. Although we are few in number in this battle, every one of us is important. I also have a mission for you. You guys, form groups of 2 and pair up with the elite group. When the battle begins, we will hide under the rocks. You will be our eyes. We will rely on you to observe the enemy and control the withering to attack him. Remember, you must pass on information quickly and accurately. Yunli's strategy is actually very simple, similar to the trick Xu Yuan used before. Xu Yuan's main body hid in the rocks to control the monsters, while his clone went to the commanding heights to survey the field of vision. Yunli cannot do what Xu Yuan did, so it can only rely on the advantage of numbers to achieve this layout. The high-level players found commanding heights and hid in their positions, observing the entire battle situation, and then issued attack orders to the elite players. I have to say, this plan is perfect. After Xu Yuan heard Yunli's plan through his clone, he was full of praise for him. Not bad, you are quite capable. Xu Yuan didn't know whether he was praising Yunli or himself. It was obvious that Yunli used this trick all the time. Xu Yuan used his clone to eavesdrop on Yunli's layout while his real body was searching the outdoor laboratory area, trying to find the headquarters of the Yuntang Guild. If he could find a base, Xu Yuan wouldn't have to bother with that. He could just get the kill points and leave. However, things did not go as planned. Xu Yuan expanded the search range to 10,000 blocks with the outdoor laboratory as the center, but he still could not find the headquarters of the Yuntang Guild. Not to mention the base, when Xu Yuan was searching, he didn't even see half of the players from the Yuntang Guild. It's as if they don't exist at all, which is outrageous. It seems that I can only put on a show with them. Seeing this, Xu Yuan no longer expected to find the Yuntang Guild headquarters on his own. From observing Yunli, Xu Yuan found that Yunli was a cautious person. We can also learn from Yunli that they had discovered me a long time ago. It is estimated that the base has been hidden and is not on the surface. If it was underground, the possibility of Xu Yuan finding it would be almost zero. So he could only rely on Yunli and the others to lead him in. I must have been an award-winning actor in my previous life. There will undoubtedly be another drama this time. If we want Yunli and the others to return to their base, we must let them win the war. Moreover, this victory is different from the one of the triumphant guild. Yunli was much more cautious than the group of players on the grassland before, and the escape trick he used last time could no longer be used. This time, I have to act more realistically. Looks like I have to fake my death. If they want to dispel the suspicions of the Yunli people, they have to make them think that they killed him. This matter is easy to handle. Fortunately, Xu Yuan has a clone. The death of the clone will not have any impact on the original body. Just let the clone die. After thinking about this, Xu Yuan slowly began to plan. I still need to find some good-looking drops. Since we are all going to die, it would be unreasonable not to reveal anything. This definitely won't fool Yunli and the others. So you have to find some dropped items. Get some enchanted books, some diamonds, a nether star. It should be enough to make a treasure map. Xu Yuan also made clear arrangements for his funeral. This explosion rate is quite explosive in the entire 1100th world. Since we have to choose the drops, we must choose those that players have never seen before. Enchanted books are relatively rare, and players have not yet come into contact with the enchantment table, so this thing must be a good thing for them. Diamonds are naturally needless to say. As a demon king, he must have a treasure to protect, so at least he has to arrange a treasure map to support his appearance. Furthermore, Yunli and his team did not kill Wither, so they did not know that Wither would drop the nether star. So it is also suitable as a drop item, and Xu Yuan just happens to have a nether star that dropped when he killed Wither before. After thinking about this, Xu Yuan immediately started to collect the dropped items. After collecting almost all the information, Xu Yuan began to deliberately wander around the outdoor research room of the Yuntang Guild. Soon, the players of Yuntang Guild discovered him. Vice President. Good news, we found HIM's location. Chapter 58. As soon as he arrives, attack immediately. Where is he? After hearing the players' reports, Yunli was also a little nervous. Although he already had a perfect plan, Yunli still felt a little weak when the fight was about to start. However, Yunli quickly adjusted his mentality. Even if they lost this battle, Yunli and his men would only lose these few withered. At worst, they will lose their lives. Anyway, the battle site will not be chosen near the guild headquarters, so even if we lose, the possibility of affecting the guild is very small. It can be said that the Yuntang guild invested very little in this battle. If you win, you will make huge profits and bring honor to your family. If you lose, the loss won't be big. Furthermore, this matter is kept completely confidential and no one will know about it. It's not shameful even if you lose, so Yunli dares to gamble. When I saw him, he was in the nearby jungle. After hearing the words of the senior players, Yunli continued to ask. Did you see what he was doing? The high-level player shook his head. I didn't dare to look closely, for fear that he would find me, so I hid immediately. Yunli nodded upon seeing this, and then continued to ask. Is there any monster around him? Everyone has seen the previous battle of the Triumphant Guild, and everyone knows that him has a lot of monsters under his command. It would be best if we could wipe out this group of monsters in one fell swoop. After hearing this, the high-level players still shook their heads. No, just him. Yunli was a little confused when a player from the elite group next to him spoke up. Him should have released all the monsters around him. The president just received news when we arrived, saying that the diamond suit zombie next to him appeared near the Eternal Guild. After hearing this, Yunli finally put aside his doubts. After the elite group player said this, he couldn't help but laugh. I heard that the diamond suit zombie killed a lot of people from the Eternal Guild, and a lot of equipment was dropped. But Tian Heng didn't dare to attack the diamond suit zombie, saying that he was afraid that him would seek revenge on them. I heard that a special self-service feeding team has been set up. Every day, players come to feed the zombie and treat him like a master. After the player from the elite group said this, everyone couldn't help but burst out laughing. What the hell? Really? Isn't the Eternal Guild a subsidiary guild of the First Guild? What the hell? Are you scared like this by one of HIM's minions? Ha 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 ha, I can't hold it in anymore, these people are really cowards, they treat him like a boss. If they knew that we were about to deal with him, I wonder if they would still have the nerve to say that they are the #1 guild. Ha 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 ha. Quote. After hearing this, the senior executives felt a sense of superiority. Although the Eternal Guild is a subsidiary guild of the First Guild, its strength is definitely above that of the Yuntang Guild. The Yuntang Guild is about to go to war with him, and there is a high chance that it can defeat him. On the other hand, the Eternal Guild was groveling before one of HIM's minions. Everyone in the Yuntang Guild naturally had a smile on their faces. It was precisely because of this incident that the fighting spirit of the Yuntang Guild's senior leaders became stronger. Brothers, we must win this battle. This is a matter of honor for the guild. After this battle, I guess the position of eternal glory as the #1 will be lost. Quote. The words of the players of the Yuntang Guild were heard clearly by Xu Yuan's clone hiding nearby. After hearing their talk about the diamond suit zombies, Xu Yuan was also very pleased. Xu Yuan naturally knew that it was 007. After Xu Yuan released the monsters, he was actually still very worried about their safety. Although Xu Yuan could see whether they were alive, he had no way of monitoring their location. Now that he heard the news about 007, Xu Yuan finally felt a little relieved. It seems that this kid lives a pretty comfortable life, even having a buffet. The Eternal Guild was concerned about him, so they did not take action against 007. But if Xu Yuan faked his death, Yuntang Guild would definitely spread the news. By then, the Eternal Guild might take action. After thinking about this, Xu Yuan couldn't help but feel a little conflicted. If I hadn't faked my death, all this time would have been in vain. If he faked his death, 007 might be in danger. Xu Yuan thought about it for a long time before finally making up his mind. 007 also needs experience. He can't live under my protection forever. Xu Yuan decided to follow the previous plan. Although this would put 007 in danger, Xu Yuan had to do it. It's not that Xu Yuan is selfish. Xu Yuan still has feelings for 007. But Xu Yuan cannot protect 007 forever. He must become stronger in order to face all dangers and survive better in this world. This can also be considered a test for 007 by Xu Yuan. He must become strong on his own and must have his own title. Instead of always living under him's protection and being called him's little brother. Having made up his mind, Xu Yuan didn't think any more about it. Instead, he began to plan the things at hand. After Yunli and the others chatted and laughed for a while, they began to make their plans. First, clean up the bumpy areas here. Then grow some vegetables, get some animals to raise, and make it look like someone is living here. Under Yunli's command, all the players immediately got busy. In less than half an hour, the players had finished renovating the place. Seeing this, Yunli nodded with satisfaction and continued to give instructions. The 5 of you, form a team and go for a walk in the woods. Remember, you must pretend to be going over to open up the wasteland, and don't reveal any flaws. Don't be afraid, him won't touch you, he will definitely follow you. You just come back directly then. Yunli still put a lot of effort into studying him. He knew very well that him had a wide range of tastes. I really like to play the long game and catch big fish. That's why he used the same method to deal with him. But he didn't realize who the fish was. He didn't even realize he had already taken the bait. Everyone in the guild also began to head into the woods as Yunli requested. Yunli took 9 elite members and hid in a secret place. To be on the safe side, they even surrounded themselves with a circle of hell rock that was more resistant to explosions. Wither was hidden in the matchbox they had just built. After all the players were ready, Yunli also set up a private voice room to facilitate communication between everyone. Attention, those who are following, report the situation at any time. When he comes, attack immediately. Chapter 59 Withering, locking the target. Seeing that Yunli had arranged it so well, Xu Yuan immediately started acting according to the script arranged by Yunli. After several high-level players of the Yuntang Guild arrived at the forest, they began to wander aimlessly in the place where they had previously found him. Seeing this, Xu Yuan also deliberately revealed a flaw. He immediately teleported into the sight of one of the players. Xu Yuan was some distance away from the player, with his back to the player. Players can see him at a glance, but both sides are at a very safe distance. As soon as Xu Yuan teleported to the location, the high-level players of the Yuntang Guild discovered him. He's there. What should I do now? Shish, make some normal noise, then turn around and leave. When the senior executives saw him, they immediately started acting. They immediately raised their voices, chatting and chopping at the surrounding trees. This place is great, there are a lot of resources. Yes, this place is very close to our guild headquarters. Oh, my backpack is full, is yours full? Mine is full too. How about going back and making some space before coming back? Okay, let's go. Let's go back to the base. Quote. These guild leaders were afraid that him couldn't hear them, so they would unconsciously raise their voices every time they mentioned the guild headquarters. Seeing their poor acting skills, Xu Yuan couldn't help but hold his forehead with his hand. Only someone like Xu Yuan who knows the script would be fooled by such awkward acting. After hearing the players' voices, Xu Yuan pretended to turn around and look towards the players. Xu Yuan also didn't expect that the player who discovered him was still looking at him. The two looked at each other instantly. Upon seeing this, the player immediately and very deliberately avoided his gaze. I can't stand watching Xu Yuan's poor acting. But it doesn't matter. We are all acting anyway, and it's fine as long as we achieve our goal in the end. When the players of Yuntang Guild saw him turning around, they also gave a look to the people around them. I've been fooled. Go back. The players of the Yuntang Guild immediately began to return to the outdoor research room. Along the way, the players of the Yuntang Guild were reporting the situation to Yunli and the others. About 10 minutes later, the players of the Yuntang Guild finally arrived at the outdoor laboratory. After arriving here, they immediately entered into each matchbox. Not long after the players entered, the player in charge of surveillance saw him. Here he comes. He's following us. Upon hearing the news, Yunli and the other members of the elite group swallowed nervously. Although he was nervous, Yunli did not panic and immediately gave orders. Report his exact current location. As soon as Yunli's order was given, the players who were following him immediately responded. It's about 50 meters away from the location where Wither number 1 is. 40 meters, 30 meters, 20 meters, 10 meters. As him got closer, he could clearly feel the voice of the stalking player becoming increasingly trembling. It seemed that him was about to approach the location where Wither number 1 was. Yunli immediately controlled withering and used the explosion skill. With a loud explosion, the withering hidden in the matchbox rushed directly into the sky. Him is at the bottom right of Wither No. 1. When the stalking player saw Wither coming out, he immediately reported HIM's location. Yunli also raised his voice immediately. Wither, lock onto the target. After summoning Wither, although Wither is under Yunli's control, Yunli does not have a system panel or anything like that. Withering seems to only accept voice information. In preparation for today's battle, Yunli spent a long time experimenting on how far away he should be from Withered and how loud his voice should be in order for Withered to receive his commands. Yunli also carefully calculated the distance and his volume. At this distance and the volume of the orders he gave, Withering was just able to hear them. But other people can't hear it. That's why Yunli dared to control the Withering underground. After Yunli gave the order to Wither, the players who were following him immediately gave Yunli feedback. Wither is already facing him. It should have been aimed at. After hearing the news, Yunli finally breathed a sigh of relief and then gave instructions to the elite members. Let all the Withers come out and lock onto him. As soon as Yunli finished speaking, he heard several loud, bang bang bang, noises on the ground. The remaining 9 Withers all appeared in the air, their eyes all fixed on him. All 10 Withers have been successfully locked. The stalking player also immediately passed on the information. Hearing the news from the stalking player, Yunli gave the attack order immediately without any hesitation. Aim at him, attack. Following Yunli's order, all 10 Withers were activated. They all aimed at him beneath them and began firing withering skulls. At this moment, him saw this, but did not show any panic on his face, but teleported to avoid the withering head thrown by Withering. HIM was seen dodging the dense rain of withering heads while using fireball-like skills to counterattack the withering heads. He looked calm and fearless. The players who were watching suddenly became nervous when they saw this. Boss, he has a ranged skill, he can cast a fireball. Wither number 1 was attacked by him. Yunli was also a little surprised when he heard the reports from the players who were following him. He didn't expect that him could use long-range skills. However, Yunli was not too panicked. After killing the players from the Triumph Guild, him's strength must have increased. It's not uncommon to have more skills. Even if him has ranged skills, it's no big deal, because Wither can restore health. Yunli had previously asked the players to prepare some livestock and raise them in captivity. On the one hand, it is to deceive people and make him mistakenly believe that this is the player's residence. Another aspect is to use these livestock to replenish blood. Report Wither's health at any time. Report to me immediately if it's half health. Everyone else, while he's counter-attacking with the fireball, lock on and attack him. After Yunli gave the order, the results were seen immediately. Boss, good news. It was attacked. It's losing blood. This news about stalking the players undoubtedly gave everyone in Yunli great confidence. It would be easy if I could hurt him. What Yunli and the others fear most is that him is immune to the damage of the Withering Lord. After all, in the previous battle with the Triumph Guild, him was immune to the damage from arrows. Seeing that his attack was effective, Yunli was full of confidence. Don't worry about anything, just bomb me. Chapter 60, The Demon King Falls, and there is no more him in Minecraft. Following Yunli's order, the 10 withered creatures floating in the sky immediately began bombing mode. One after another, the withering heads flew towards him at a rapid speed. Him dodged one with teleportation, and the next one immediately attacked him in the face. Faced with such a dense mass of withering heads, him had no time to dodge. Basically, him will be eaten by at least 1 to 2 withering skulls in every round of attack. Under such a dense rain of withering heads, him didn't even have time to counterattack. The withering attack made him breathless. HIM's health was gradually reduced to half. The stalking players were also reporting the news on the battlefield factually. The current situation clearly shows that Yunli has the upper hand, but Yunli is somewhat confused. You're already half dead and you're still fighting. Why don't you run away? Yunli also expressed his thoughts aloud. As soon as he finished speaking, a message came from the player he was following. Boss, this is bad. Him seems to be running away. After hearing this news, Yunli finally dispelled his doubts. Don't let him get away. Attack with all your strength. Seeing that the battle was about to be won, Yunli was overwhelmed by the victory that was so close, and he was no longer suspicious. 10 withers locked onto him and tracked him all the way. The road along the way was blown to pieces. HIM's health was also rapidly decreasing. Seeing that withering was getting farther and farther away, the people of Yunli suddenly became a little panicked. The withering was beyond their control. Yunli immediately asked the player who was following him, "What's going on outside?" Although the stalking player is outside, the specific situation over there is not clear as the battle line has been stretched far away. Only 10 withered creatures stopped tracking and floated in the air on standby. A brave senior executive quietly moved over there. "All I saw was a huge deep pit on the plain caused by the withering, which was about 30 meters deep. And in the deep pit lay a corpse." The high-level players who were keeping watch were stunned when they saw this. When he saw the appearance of the corpse, he was a little bit unbelievable. "Dead, dead, him is dead." After hearing this, everyone in Yunli was stunned for a long time. Although this was indeed the result they wanted to hear, when they actually faced it, everyone found it a little hard to believe. Is he really dead? Are you sure? Is it that easy? Did he pretend to be dead on purpose? You didn't see it wrong. That's really him. Quote. The high-level player who was following was a little unsure himself, so he moved closer. At this time, him's body in the pit had begun to slowly dissipate. The high-level player's heartbeats quickened when they saw this. Really? It's true. Boss. His body is slowly dissipating. He is really dead. After hearing the news, Yunli started digging out of the ground while talking to the senior executive who was following them. Quick, record it now. It was obvious that Yunli was the winner in this battle, although the battle process was not broadcast live. But Yunli must announce the results of the battle. You know, this is him, the big devil him. An existence that players try to avoid. But he was defeated by the Yuntang Guild. Just based on this battle, the Yuntang Guild will become famous overnight. After hearing this, the high-level player who was keeping watch immediately started recording. After Yunli and his group dug up, they immediately gathered at the deep pit. At this moment, him's body has completely dissipated. Suddenly, there were some dropped objects in the deep pit. 5 diamonds, a nether star, a treasure map, and several enchanted books. Yunli still couldn't believe that him died like this. But after seeing these dropped objects, all these doubts were dispelled. So many things exploded. After all the players gathered together, they were extremely excited to see the dropped items. 5 diamonds popped up. He's worthy of being the Demon King. Look at what you have accomplished. Diamonds are the least valuable of these things. Look at that star-like thing. It's definitely a good thing. There's actually an enchanted book. I think I've only seen people from Eternal Glory post this thing on the forum, and they only have 1 copy, I think. I think the most valuable of these things is the treasure map. That is the treasure of the devil. Indeed, we are going to be prosperous. It can be said that none of the dropped items in the deep pit have ever been seen by the players of the Yuntang Guild. Although they had seen pictures of diamonds and enchanted books, they were all on forums. This shows how rare this drop is. Seeing this, Yunli completely dispelled his doubts. Did you take pictures of what happened just now? Yunli asked the high-level player who was watching from the side. The senior player nodded, and then sent the video he had just recorded to Yunli. Boss, can you see if this is possible? Yunli took a look at the video and saw that him's body in the deep pit was also covered with a layer of mosaic. Even in death, the camera could not capture his appearance. But this is also good, as it proves that Yunli and the others did kill him. If Yunli could see him's appearance clearly in the video, he would have some doubts. Yunli collected all the dropped items in the deep pit with satisfaction, and then opened the forum. Just posted the video. The title is also very simple and direct. The devil has fallen, and there is no him in my world anymore. After releasing the video, Yunli directly closed the forum. Yunli doesn't need to do much promotion for this post, I believe it will become popular soon. Everyone has worked hard in this battle. Let's go back and celebrate. But I still want to say one more thing. Regarding the matter of withering and the information about the netherworld, everyone should keep it secret. After hearing this, all the high-level players nodded. Don't worry, boss. We understand. Why isn't your post popular yet? I really want to see people's reactions. Why rush? It will probably be pinned to the top soon. With this post, our Yuntang Guild will consider itself second, and no one will dare to claim first place, right? Of course you have too. Ha 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 ha. Quote. The players walked towards the Yuntang Guild headquarters while chatting and laughing. They didn't realize that there was a pair of eyes emitting white light staring at them from behind. The fish has taken the bait, and we can finally reel in the net. Thank you for watching. Continue exploring the fascinating world of Chinese novels with us. Hit that subscribe button on Chinese Novel Audiobook to stay updated with our latest stories. And never miss out on a great listen.